Welcome in, everybody. My name is Bahamut. I am joined today by Chillrog, the org owner of Chili Mountain. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good, Baha. What's up? Nice to see you. Thanks for having me, dude.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. I'm really glad to have you here and be able to figure out a little bit more about Chili Mountain. So, first things first, what inspired Chili Mountain to be an org for CCL?
Right. So, Chili Mountain started really, I would say, it started a little bit before CCL, of course. It was really a response to what we felt like was a lack of Heroes of the Storm, maybe like things for the players, tournaments, prize money, Twitch viewers. We just felt like Heroes of the Storm is such a fantastic product and such a fun experience. And we felt like the amount of hype surrounding the game wasn't matching up to that. So we kind of just wanted to do whatever we could to help. And kind of with that like general idea, it's grown from that. But that's really what founded Chili Mountain. That's what started it.
And so that kind of inspiration or drive to want to be a little bit more in the Heroes of the Storm scene really kind of pulled you into HeroesCCL as well and kind of gave you that drive to be one of the organizations, I'm assuming?
Yeah, absolutely. So with us wanting to see Heroes of the Storm grow, we saw the hype around CCL and the vision and the kind of plan that the whole team with CCL had for what it could be and what it could bring to Heroes of the Storm. We were insanely enthusiastic about that, and we thought it made a lot of sense, and we wanted to be a part of it and help however we could.
Transitioning away from the organization and more towards the player base, well, what does the org want to offer the players outside of just the scrimming, scrim scheduling, and the match scheduling, and just kind of the stuff that the org is expected to do?
Yeah, so I think a big thing that Chili Mountain will prioritize is telling a story. We think it's really important that we get a lot of background info about the players. We want to highlight our players. We are really, all of us kind of individually and the company as a whole was kind of really enthralled by the story that HCC told, and kind of how we had the rise and the fall and the happy times and the sad times for a lot of players and teams in HCC. And we thought that was very cool. And we think that is a really important part to highlight about CCL, and something we'll want to emphasize a lot with our players as well.
As these exhibition matches have been going on for the past couple weeks, and we've been watching a lot of the players, is there anything they can do inside these exhibition matches, or maybe even outside of the exhibition matches, to catch the Chili Mountain organization attention?
Yeah. So I guess we're looking for a combination of things. Skill is important. Everybody likes skill. That's great. Of course, that's a big thing we're looking for. But we're also looking for being very vocal, showing that you're not afraid to communicate with your team. If you have an idea, you tell it to them. If you have a unique strategy, you say it. I mean, not too much, of course. That it's not productive, but being vocal is important. Positive. I've seen the most amazing thing that I've seen is I saw a certain team playing as 5, and one team member lost 36 Medivh stacks, and it was so bad, and it lost in the game, and nobody said a word about it. Nobody said any little comment. Everything was very positive, and we loved that game. We took everyone's name down. And we're like, that was great. And they still had a very close game, and it could have easily gotten very negative. And that's the kind of thing we were looking for, or we're really impressed by.
You're looking
positive.
Yeah, you're looking for a lot of players that are they're not going to dog each other for a simple mistake that some would say. Me personally, I would lose those stacks and be like, well, I should uninstall, but that's just me. But no, I get that. Yeah, because positivity and toxicity really have been kind of the main factors for a lot of organizations. They want to see that people have really good heroes, but they're also super positive, and they're great to communicate with and with other players. And kind of on that end spectrum, maybe beyond toxicity, is there anything that turns you away from a player? I know we joke about Convection Kael'thas, but are there heroes, talents, or just plays that really you don't really want to see on the Chili Mountain team?
A very narrow hero pool might turn us off, but even that said, like if you have a very interesting hero pool, you could be a nice fit for the sub spot. So we like for the sub spot, it could be very nice. Not necessarily, Medivh, Vikings, a lot of orgs are thinking like this. Do you have a very interesting double healer you can switch to? That could be cool. But really, just if you pigeonhole yourself into just like 3 or 4 heroes that are hard to work around, that could get you into trouble. But besides that, it's okay. You can pick Kael'thas. If you pick Convection, you have to have like a very good reasoning behind it, but that's about it.
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of the mantra, or at least what every single organization has kind of said in response to the Convection Kael'thas is like, look, you can take it, but you better argue to me that there's some sort of validity to this pick, and you never know. You absolutely never know.
I have seen it. Yeah.
Transitioning towards the end of our interview here, are there any sort of things that you might want to say to the players, whether to get your attention or inspirational, or just even just your optics on the upcoming season for the CCL?
I would say, I guess I've said this before in the past, but I want to reiterate it. Be visible. Come to do extra things to be visible. Come to in-houses, not just the big one. If you can't get into it, that's okay as well. Go to the other in-houses. There's lots going on now. Jazzalin's in-house is very cool. Beach Ends is very cool. Chili Mountain has exhibition matches. If you reach out to us, if you feel you're a good player and you feel like you deserve a spot, don't be afraid to reach out and talk to us. We're open to it. As we've said in the past, we're not just looking for the 6 best mechanical players, like a lot of orgs aren't. We think positivity, having the right attitude, being vocal are all important things that you're going to need to create a team that can stay. Not just perform well in one season of CCL, but stay, be here for a year, be here for multiple years. Really a sustainable kind of a thing. So yeah, that was a lot there, but be visible. Be visible is the main thing to take away, I think.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not an easy thing, but it's definitely something that a lot of players are doing, and I personally highly recommend it to every single player out there. Make a highlight reel, at people on Twitter, get into people's Twitter DMs and maybe Discord DMs. Like, I think, and maybe I'm speaking for you here, a lot of the orgs have said, just DM me, get the information in front of my face, because I can't watch everything.
Totally right. Yeah. I've seen some simple highlight reels, just how you said.
Yeah.
They're funny. Even if they're funny, there's some personality in there. That's awesome. I thought, just one to throw out there, there's a million amazing things I've seen, so don't take this for anything. It's hard to name them all. But Lauber's
just about to say it.
Funny. Yeah.
I was just about to say it. I watched it recently and I was like, this is a good highlight reel, because not only are you showing your mechanical skill, you're showing your personality, and that's a big thing too. And not to just plug one person's highlight reel, but it's a very good example of showing your personality as well as your skills within Heroes of the Storm. That's a great example, Chillrog. I hope that people can take a peek at that, and if they're looking to make another one or to make their first, maybe not base it or copy, but just to be inspired by that kind of editing as well as just personality that's in the video. That's a very good point. Thank you so much, Chillrog, for joining us for this short little interview to get to know Chili Mountain Organization a little bit further. We look forward to seeing you all on October 17th for the live draft. You have a wonderful afternoon, and thank you again for joining me.
You as well. Thanks so much, Baha.
Welcome back to HeroesCCL, presented by Roll20. My name's Bahamut, still joined by Khroen. My friend, are you ready for our final day, our final 2-3 game series for the exhibition matches?
I am ready, and I'm excited to get into the final day of the exhibition matches. We've had wonderful games yesterday and the past, couple of weeks. It's sad that it has to come to an end, but still, we have 6 more games today, Baha, and I'm ready to get into them.
6 more exciting maps, but before we do that, let's go ahead and break down the prizing for the regulation season of CCL. The CCL prize pool consists of 60% of any donations contributed during all CCL broadcasts. The remaining 40% goes towards production staff cost and league expenses. For anyone wondering what that 60% breakdown looks like, you can see it on the bottom left of your screen. First place will be taking that 40% all the way down into 8th place, taking 5% themselves. Khroen, we know a little bit more about this prizing breakdown for our season, but we have, as you said, 6 more maps. And I posted this morning on Twitter, I'm looking for those non-standard drafts. I want some shenanigans today. I want today to be the day that everyone looks at and be like, all right, CCL exhibition matches, all those other days were great, but day 6, that final day, oh, that one stands out. Maybe we get Valeera main tank. I actually saw a little tweet before we were getting into all of this, and that was Adam saying, I've been practicing my Valeera main tank. So we might see that here in our first 3-game series or our second 3-game series of the day. Regardless, we have 6 maps total for all of you, and we can let you all know, which players are going to be playing on those maps, because we have exciting new players for you today. It's not the same players as yesterday. We are going to be seeing on our blue team, Detrio on this blue team. We have Infrared, Nathanatos, Rosmix, and Inside Out. Who are we going to be seeing on the red side, Khroen?
Over on the red side, we have Centurion, Mason Blaze, Mr. Christie, Roger, and John Knight.
Some amazing community members and some standout players as well coming out in our first 3-game series of the day. Any names that stand out to you? I know, at least for me, I'm just going to say right now, because I see it in chat all the time, and I was watching it back last night. John Knight is someone that everyone wants to be drafted, but is there a name that stands out for you, Khroen?
Yeah, John Knight, interesting player to me. I've heard a little bit about them, but I think I'll have to say the name that stands out the most for me is Rosmix. I think I've seen Rosmix have a pretty standout performance in some of the in-house games that I have been casting and participating in a couple of them over the past 2 to 3 weeks or so. So gonna be seeing if they can do the same sort of stuff. They play, I think, those high impact range DPS heroes that if we talk about how teams win fights, it's oftentimes down to the positioning and the follow-up that those range DPS players do have, and I'm excited to see how Rosmix does it here today.
We got 10 exciting new players for our first 3-game series of the day. But Khroen, I'm sure everyone at home is wondering, where are we going for our first 3-game series of the day? And who is going to be winning out on this coin flip? Looks like our blue team will win out as they're going to be opting for first pick priority. The members of the blue team banning Garden of Terror and Volskaya Foundry. Blue team, you're rude. The red team is going to go ahead and ban out Cursed Hollow and Sky Temple, and they're going to opt to choose to take us to Infernal Shrines for game number 1. And with that, I think we can go ahead and jump on into our first draft of the day. Khroen, Infernal Shrines, a great map in any sort of series, best of 3-game series, best of 5s, best of 7s, whatever you want to call it. I think it's a strong map regardless competitively. Anything that you're excited to see here outside of maybe some of the standards like the Joanna for rotation, and minions and stuff like that? Is there any standout heroes you're excited to see here?
Well, first of all, thank you, Blue Team, for banning Garden of Terror. I have to throw that out there. Infernal Shrines, we could agree this is one of the top 3 maps.
Yes.
I love seeing Infernal Shrines, and coming down to the hero picks on the map, I would love to see things like, I feel like I say it every time, but Junkrat, good hero, good on the map. The zone control that you can have with that hero is just so strong. I am interested, however, in seeing some Tyrael picks, and it's not one that I jump to being like, oh, it's really good in this map. But we saw a Tyrael in the past weeks of CCL exhibitions, and we saw it utilized pretty well. And I think that's a huge testament to a player that is going to be drafted in CCL. Orgs are going to be looking at players that identify how to play well with Tyrael and how to play as the Tyrael. And if you have that in your arsenal, that's going to be hugely appealing. And you can do that on Infernal Shrines. You can find those engagements on those shrine fights. You can be quick and decisive, and you can win out the shrine fight, get the Punisher, and push down to solidify that lead. But look at the bans there quickly. We do have Anna and Chromie on the side of the blue team, and then Diva, Junkrat on the side of the red team. Junkrat not being prioritized and picked because it was banned, but Urel being that first pick for the blue team here.
Strong solo lane, very early, but she is kind of one of those early priority when it comes to the solo lane, so it seems like they want to be able to grab that. This is a bit, I wouldn't say awkward, or I guess just non-standard, and maybe I asked for this, but having the solo lane matchup drafted immediately here, that's not something I often do see, but looks like that's the high priority for both teams. Maybe, I don't know, maybe, because I will say this, because yesterday, Zlurd, actually, in the interview, we were just talking to them, and they were just like, I just wanted to play Zarya on one map, and then I wanted everyone else to play what they wanted to showcase. And maybe this is it. Maybe this is, map 1, the offlaners are like, hey, we want our priority, and we want to grab whatever we're going to grab. And then everyone else, as game 2 and game 3 progress, maybe then the tank players, prioritize something else that's a little more flashy. Maybe we see a Mal'Ganis come out because he's had a literal 0 involvement, like pick, ban, anything. I think this is honestly the first time we've even brought up Mal'Ganis, but at the Sonya Joanna for the right hand side, Tychus and ETC on the left. Now Tychus a little bit more priority after this most recent patch on Tuesday, changing up some of their talents and some of the order of their talents. Any thoughts on this from yesterday? Because we did have 2 Tychus games out of the 6 we saw.
I think in in the past iterations of Tychus, one of the main problems with him is that he had to get very, very close to actually get a lot of minigun value. Now with the level 1 talent where you can increase your auto attack range by 1, going from 4.5 to 5.5, you can DPS with your minigun from such a more safe distance. Yeah. And if you're dashing into a target, it allows you like another whole like second or like half a second to be actually DPSing them before they get out of your range. I think the Tychus prioritization makes sense, and it's into a Sonya as well. I was actually going to talk about, I don't like the Sonya being prioritized so highly in the draft. Usually if you're prioritizing solo laners, it's going to be the Diva Yrel because they are just strong heroes in general, but I think you could have left the Sonya to later on in the draft so that you can't be counterpicked with things like Tychus, ETC, and other CC abilities to cancel her spin and then take her down very quickly.
John Knight is a very, very well-rounded solo lane player from the experience I've had of casting them. I don't know enough about Nathanatos to really talk to them, but hey, we're going to be seeing a Mephisto, which is something that I love, and I've been itching for players to pick up, and I think this is actually one of the first Mephisto games we've had in CCL Exhibition, and I think he's just a massively undervalued hero, and we get to see that showcase right here. The right-hand side needs some more damage to round things out. Like a mage would be great here, like some sort of Kael'thas or a Jaina, just to add into the wave clear pairs well with the Joanna. They could look at Hanzo if they really wanted, but I still feel like their wave clear would be very lacking. All right, this Tassadar, I like this. It still gives them the wave clear, gives them Shrine Poke, gives them massive burst. But looking at this, is there enough to force back the ETC Yrel from the backline, Khroen?
I'm not sure that there is. I think as we scale later on into the game, I mean, Sylvanas always does a deceptively large amount of damage, and Sonya, when she's scaling into the later stages of the game, she'll be a force to be reckoned with for sure. I can't help but notice seeing the Mephisto and the Tassadar picks. Those were both heroes that got an ultimate ability buffed in the recent patch just a few days ago. Tassadar got that black hole buff. Mana cost was reduced from 80 to 60, and the cooldown was reduced from 70 to 60, I believe. And similar thing with Mephisto cooldown. I believe it was reduced by 10 seconds there as well. So maybe these changes are why these players are prioritizing those picks. Mephisto, in the hands of a proficient Mephisto player, can definitely pop off, could always do that. It's just a hard hero to be able to pilot. So we'll see what Infrared here is going to be able to do with that.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right with that. It is going to come down to the mechanical prowess of our mage player, and the same thing can be said about the Tassadar. Is just, you know, lining up these force walls as well as just these shock rays. But I personally, I'm excited to be able to see other heroes here as we go ahead and get on into our map number 1 for our first 3-game series of the day. On the left-hand side, we have our blue team, Mephisto, to be played by Infrared. Nathanatos is going to be on the Yrel. Inside Out is going to be on the Anduin. Rosmix will be on the Tychus, and Detrio will be on the ETC.
And over on the red side, we have Centurion on the Tassadar, John Knight on that Sonya, Mason Blaze playing the Stukov, Mr. Christie on Johanna, and Roger on the Sylvanas.
I mean, the level 1 here for Tychus, I'm not surprised it's going to be Press the Advantage, Furious Spark for the Mephisto. A lot of this is pretty standard across the board. We do have Warpaint for the Sonya. No block stacks, but with the Tychus, I feel like that would have just shredded through the block at level 1. So I do kind of like this Warpaint for the Sonya for more self-sustain into the Yrel. So I'm expecting, at least from what I'm looking at, and maybe what I know a little bit, I expect John Knight to play very aggressive into Nathanatos as they actually are going to spear in. That's going to be a force wall blocking them as they're going to try and walk away. Detrio's going to maybe have a face melt, as that's not the case. Solo laners split off into their respective lane, and our rotations begin between mid to bottom as Rosmix takes a little harassment from Mr. Christie.
So there was a lot of time where heroes were hitting each other in that small engage level 1, but if we look at the HP bars after everything went down, they're all basically full or near full. There's just not a lot of damage here early on, and I think that may end up being more worrying for our blue team as things go on. It does depend though. Like, they do have like great scaling heroes. I think Mephisto has a lot of talents that'll help him do a lot of damage later on. Same with Tychus when he gets his minigun. There's not a ton of CC potential though for interrupting the Sonya. Besides for a Urel smash or ETC slide, if she's able to dodge those, then I think John Knight can really take over team fights later on into the game. We'll see what happens at that point, though, as we do have this Merc camp prioritization on both sides, sieges for blue and red team, but the red members also acquire the bottom lane sieges as well, so a little bit of advantage there, and might even find some Sylvanas push here as well.
We do have Stukov. I'm watching the mini-map right now, and Stukov is kind of in the thick of all of that as Mason Blaze actually just mounts up and is able to disengage back down. We do have our first objective up and available in the top lane at 3 minutes into the game. We'll have the announcement for that at 2 minutes and 30 as Mephisto, that's going to be Trio diving onto Mason Blaze as they're trying to actually turn this back around on the red side, and Trio taking quite a bit of damage, has to tap well. Rosmix coming down here. Roger sees this, tries to get some damage into them as they shred half their health, even more so. Gonna spread that pustule around, but Frozen Punisher will be popping up in the top lane in roughly 40 seconds as we do see our right-hand side camp to be grabbed by the red team. Good timing coming out from that one, but the unfortunate factor is the top lane objective is, the objective is in top lane, and the Fallen Shaman camp is going to be rotating into that lane, so it should be an easy clear for our blue side. Realistically, all this does is bolster the experience for our red team as they're going to wait a few minutes here as John Knight is going to Hearth back. They grab the same thing on the left-hand side, but we are ready for our top lane objective. Sorry, I was watching Sylvanas Khroen, and I was like, are they going to just hard push bottom? No, they're rotating up. Okay.
They could. They got nearly one tower down there. It's literally on 13 HP remaining. Sylvanas could look for those opportunities during the Shrine phase, but they're looking to clear out mid and rotate up to the top lane. An interesting talent that Tychus took is Bigger They Are in favor against in the rhythm there, and that only deals damage up until heroes are above or below 30% health. That it will no longer deal damage. However, ooh, good pull there by the Anvil. Make sure that Thanatos is safe, but a re-engage by Ditrio.
They find a nice Gladiator's Medallion out of Mr. Christie. They save themselves. Mason Blade is being bopped around by Urel. And right now, we have 10 skeletal defenders in favor for our red team as that's continuing to go up. Now, we didn't talk about this much, Khroen, in the draft. Sonya's prowess on these shrines is so strong, but here's the counter dive. Okay, I was about to say, Sonya's so strong on these shrines when she's left alone to clear them out. Right there, she was getting bullied out, and this is going to be our blue team hitting 7 talent tier first, and they're going to be rushing ahead with these skeletal defenders. Can they grab our first Punisher being frozen?
I mean, level 7's now being achieved by the red team. Good force wall there. Ditrio goes down immediately in this fight. Infrared forced to run, but Mason Blaze, those Stukov slapped.
Wow. Stukov just... The Nexus Force is actually stealing that away, but I honestly, the MVP for the couple kills we've seen, or at least the setups, is going to be Centurion, and this is a really cool call. This is what I was just about to talk about. They leave Sonya on the point because she's easily able to finish this out by herself, while the friendly team will push up and they lock down the tower with Roger's Black Arrows. Rosmix and Inside Out are going to force them back a little bit here. Detrio's back from death. Frozen Punisher coming in through this top lane. This should be a fort in top lane in favor for the red team. I don't see a world where they can defend against this. It's just so much already coming in, Khroen.
Yeah, I don't think so. We saw the Ditrio force the power slide away. Now the fort is going to be frozen by that Frozen Punisher. This will be an easy fort take. Interested to see if they choose to rotate out to get some push on the mid wall, or they choose to push in the top lane. It looks like it will be an immediate rotation to the mid lane, and I like this. Urel is Urel, so she's going to be pretty safe here on this rotate. But I love this. Immediately, they're forcing the blue team to have to respond to the middle while also responding to the top lane Punisher. So there's 2 members in the top lane. Punisher is still over 50% health, and they already got a mid tower. They're going to be pretty safe here as well. The force wall, great again by Centurion, denying Ditrio with that ETC. The power slide was not able to connect onto anybody there. They're able to get a second tower. Sonya also at the same time doing the bottom mercs. They're going to be able to get every single wall here pretty soon.
I can't believe the communication coming out from the red team right now. It's so well done. Like, just to be able to say, I'm honestly blown away by the rotation made, because you called it correctly. They split the enemy team, forcing them to divide themselves into different lanes, defend against the Punisher, defend against this mid lane push, and this is going to push them ahead with a couple kills. And now with their 10 talent tier, they're invading onto this camp, and who can blame the red team? They're utilizing their advantages to the fullest extent. And watch this, Mason Blaze should... Oh wait, no. I thought they were going to throw the weighted pustule over the wall to give the vision for the Impaler camp. not the case as they hard push bottom lane. Reason being, next Punisher's Mortar in bottom lane. And if they get this fort, which seemingly they're going to be able to do by the rotation coming down from the enemy's side, they actually don't get it, but the Force Wall was really good to disengage them. But the little bit of pressure onto this allows them, if they get the Punisher, to do the exact same thing we just saw in the top lane. But the blue team needs to respond to this mid lane pressure from the Impaler camps.
And that's been the story of this game. The blue team needs to respond. That's all they've been in the seat to do. Some great force walls, a whole game by Centurion there, forcing out something. Ooh. Light bomb with the power slide. It connects onto one. But the Mosh is going to hit nothing. A good swipe away there by Mason Blaze. Did Trio forced to run away there. A lot of ultimates were used, but no kills there. Odin is still available. Same with Arden Defender from Urel. The Archon is still available from Tassadar as well. Little bit of scrapping going on, but going back to the point that you were just talking about, blue team being forced to respond. The red team is in the driver's seat. They are making these plays happen. They are being one step ahead. Mr. Christie, I'm sure will be fine here on the Johanna. Pops the unstoppable blue team. They cannot make anything happen right now. And I mean, they're still in an okay spot. They're not like they're down like multiple levels or anything. They're just down like a half a level. John Knight actually, Turion might actually go down here. Unfortunate. Playing so well all game, but does get collapsed upon and taken down there. John Knight recognizing, oh, blue team members are in the area. I guess I have to cap these Berserker camp a little bit early, but no matter though. They're still in a good spot.
I think we saw them hearthing on the side of the screen for a second, and they were going to maybe like double back for that, but Tassadar getting picked off. That's actually just really good comms coming out from our blue team, just to be able to say like, all right, we need to find something in our realm, and they managed to do so, and that's going to bolster their experience before this bottom lane Punisher will be Mortar, as we noted beforehand. Urel grabbing a camp for top lane. Tassadar already back from death, as the death timers are fairly low. ETC Mosh is the only heroic cooldown we currently have, and that's roughly 30 seconds away. Khroen, do you want to jump to some comms for our second objective phase?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to jump into the comms of the red team and see how they're going to try to press their lead here.
Silence him.
Watch out for that.
Maybe. I'm killing tank. I'm fine. I know what I mean.
Just
shrine. Okay. I'll solo shrine. You guys just go. I don't know. Jump with bottom. I have these.
We should catch mid. Someone should catch mid just away from mid.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, it should be me. Still pushing. I'm going.
Yeah.
I've reached that maybe. Nice.
I didn't see. I'm still learning him.
I'm going top. Actually, I need to clear.
You're fine, Roger. Yeah, just like this.
We have noise on your L.
Yeah, I have to go clear.
Be careful.
They can't fight this, no way.
Yeah, I'm tapping. I don't think they're gonna compare.
Dude, you guys do bot camp as well.
They're
Oh, they're contesting. Just back out. Will you have time?
I need to. I'm out. Look up behind you. Look you. Alright, we're good. We just take it slow.
They used. What did they use?
They used
everything.
Yeah, they used everything.
Okay. We should be.
Yeah. Just wait for everyone. Your ult's right there. I didn't see now.
Yeah, I've refreaked here.
Yeah, don't see.
I pop.
Oh, you got this.
We can try. I'm running down at them. I'm just on everybody.
Am I around? Is it far around?
Slow go. Slow.
Come on, hit me more. I'm running. I got infrared. I'm capping the objective.
Okay, I'm coming. I feel popping forward.
Got out. I think we just push bottom. We might get killed. Let's get the wall. We can look for a kill if we the objective jump. You got your thing? Yeah, you have it.
Nice chance off it.
Great comms on you. I use that maybe if I'm range. Get the hands.
Alright, I'm going to pull us out just as they're going to be pushing into this bottom lane. Thoughts on the comms there, because it seemed like good shot calling, but it was also very, very quiet.
Yeah, actually, I'll get to it in a second. I'm curious to see if they get the keep or if an engage happens here. Okay, looks like they're going to just get a keep and then back off. They are level and a half up. So going back to those comms, I like the vast majority of it, actually. They were saying a lot of good things. They were saying, after they got the initial kill, it's kind of like, okay, what are you going to do now? Tassadar is like, I'm going mid, I'm gonna soak that wave. The rest of you push bottom, Sonya on the shrine. Tassadar even calling out, okay, have to clear top here, be careful around the objective. The only thing that I think we missed there is recognizing the fact that blue team might want to contest. They're like, oh, blue team don't want to contest. Nathantos here actually gets caught out by the great red rotation into the top lane there, is not going to have Ardent Defender available to escape. But yeah, back to the comms. I think the only thing they could have identified more is the willingness of the blue team to want to engage that. Fortunately, Mason Blaze had a great flailing swipe there on the Stukov to cancel that mosh pit, which was kind of the saving grace for them, because if that mosh pit had gone on for another second longer, we probably would have seen 1, maybe even 2 kills there. But some good identification there by that team, and everything kind of went as they had planned after that. They got the Punisher, they got the Keep because, having Sylvanas, and they had now a talent tier up, so they're getting all the mercenary camps on the map. They can push any lane they want to, honestly, because blue team can't really respond to it until they achieve level 16s of their own.
They also, the only thing that I was curious about in that whole thing is, and maybe you heard it and I did it, but like, I didn't hear Mr. Christie calling out that blessed shield that set up a little bit. Like, I wish that there was, and it might have just been the chaos in the moment where either I didn't hear it or it was just someone was talking over them and they just were ripping it and trying to step in. But they're trying to pressure into this mid lane keep front gate. They do have a nice force wall onto the trio. Infrared's going to try and turn things around with the Shade of Mephisto, but they're going to land onto the Berlin route from the Stukov, as they're going to try and turn things around with that light bomb. Mosh pit goes out. There's going to be a flailing swipe. I cannot believe the double kill that just happened. They're going to make it a triple. Leap of Faith will save them, so it's not a triple kill. Chastise connects on the Mason Blaze, but look at this wave mid lane with the double kill, and they're posturing Khroen. They're looking to take a speedy game number 1 on our red team.
Not only the wave mid lane, the wave bot lane as well. It has 3 catapults and 3 of those spear siege camp minions. The Odin comes out as they're trying to defend this.
Ardent Defender used by Urel. They're going to heal back to just about full. Mr. Christie, low themselves, gets that healing from the Stukov as they catch the Tychus for a second. The Thanatos trying to step in here. Force Wall's going to lock them back for a second. There's going to be the Iron Skin from Joanna to eat the Durance of Hate from Mephisto. But with everyone back up, they're able to get roughly 41% off the enemy team core. Next objective shouldn't be too far off from the announcement. Khroen, do you want to jump into some blue comps to hear how they defend against this?
Yeah, let's do it. The backs are against the wall here. Let's see how they're able to manage it.
Yeah, we need to fight. We need to fight.
Can Thumper towards us. Blind out.
Oh, come on. On test.
I don't care about wave. Okay. Don't overchase, don't overchase.
Should we do the event?
We need to start the shine.
Play Shrine fast. But play on our
probably
side.
Gonna give and wait for 20.
Joey?
No, I don't think so.
D now.
Okay, no silence.
Combo down, Stukov combo down.
Straight? On test? Much now?
Well, good ult.
Oh.
I'm thinking silent.
I gotta back up.
Nice widow. Yep.
Yeah, we needed to fight. We can't clear that bottom wave.
Lots of chaos right there. That you could hear them calling, like, not even chaos. They were just like, they're like, oh, they're not going to go for this. They're going to give it for 20, and then the re-engage happened, and they had a good moment. You could even hear like good ultimate. They had the mosh pit. So much was happening, but just the massive turnaround right there, Khroen.
It was a good mosh pit there, but an even better flailing swipe once again there from Mason Blaze as this core falls. GG to our red team. Mason Blaze is an easy MVP for me for game number 1.
Mason Blaze, one of those strong community members showcasing their prowess on Stukov, which, I mean, we've seen a lot of healers throughout our exhibition weekends, and you and I were kind of talking about how strong Brightwing can be before we went live with this actual broadcast. And I mean, a good example, like Lox yesterday had 2 amazing Brightwing games, and Hyde had an amazing game in the second series as well. So there's I think, honest to God, people need to respect the Brightwing. But in general, healers, just to kind of turn it back to my point in general, healers can be the most detrimental thing to the enemy team in some of those moments. And here, I think Mason Blaze was showcasing how well holding their ultimate to just force them back consistently was amazing. It just really great plays coming out from Mason Blaze. On the opposing side, though, I do really think that Anduin had some amazing moments with the leap of faith to save so many people. And my last little note, Mr. Christie with the Iron Skins. There was at least 2 moments I counted in that game where Durance of Hate went out from Infrared and Iron Skin was popped at the exact moment necessary to pretty much mitigate the spread. There's only one Endurance of Hate that realistically got the big spread value, and that was that last fight we just saw when we were in the comms. What are your closing thoughts on that game number 1?
Closing thoughts, red team, they were in the driver's seat since minute number 1 of that game, getting those 2 siege camps early on, having Sylvanas for that push value. As soon as they won the initial Punisher phase, they were level 10s up. Like, the moment that red team achieved level 10, they were invading camps when the blue team was a half a level away, and they can get away with things like that with utilizing that talent tier advantage. And it's those small things that really add up and keep adding up that get you, half a level lead, a level lead, and then that gets you a talent tier lead, which you can use to propel forward in the game. They were just winning team fights as well, because again, I want to highlight Mason Blaze on the Stukov. There was not a single mosh pit that went off in its full duration, because Mason Blaze was always there, not clumping up in his team. Like, there was moments where Mason Blaze was inside of like enemy team pretty much, having like getting some auto attacks off and forcing kills that way, but then also identification to back up when he needed to when that mosh pit was a threat. And every single member there, like even Centurion with those Tassadar walls, especially in the early game, I remember a lot of good ones that were securing kills on early shrine fights. So it was just very well played by pretty much every single member of the red team. Can't forget to highlight Raj when the Sylvanas had top hero damage there, 52k, 0 deaths. So everyone kind of making it work there, and you can see how well they played together as a team in that game number 1.
I agree. The healing from Stukov roughly just under 10,000 more than the opposing side of Anduin right there, just to kind of close out some stats for anyone wondering. But we are going to get prepped for this game number 2. And as the losing team, we already have our map ready to go. So let's go ahead and inform you on what the map is going to be, because I know you're all itching to find out what, map number 2 will be for our first 3-game series of the day. Looks like our losing team, the blue team, is going to opt for first pick priority, giving map pick priority over to the red side, and they're going to choose to take us to Tomb of the Spider Queen. Khroen, it's not my top 3 favorite maps, but I do really, really enjoy Tomb of the Spider Queen. I'd say it's probably more like 4, maybe closer to 5 or 6, just because of how long the map can sometimes go. Like, I can't tell you how many 30+ minute games of Tomb I've had because of just the objective. Sometimes you can't just end. Like, it's such a hard map to end on sometimes, and maybe that's just my own skill showcased right there. But Tomb of Spider Queen, a lot of rotations. Do you think we see any mega changes between the drafts? Obviously, the solo lane's different here. We don't have shrine phases, but wave clear is a big factor, and you still have double soaking coming out from a core 4.
Yeah, I think we are going to see some differences in draft, mostly prioritizing on that wave clear. I think heroes like Mephisto and Tychus won't really cut it being paired together here. It's not going to be quite enough. Heroes like Johanna, though, Gul'dan, Jaina, Junkrat, things like that are going to be heavily prioritized, because if you get ahead on the rotations on Tomb of the Spider Queen, you can dictate when you're turning in gems, you can get the first Webweaver phase, you can get a level lead from there and keep snowballing the game. As you were saying, though, with Tomb of the Spider Queen, it does oftentimes go late, but I think that is because what we see happen a lot on Tomb, one team will get 1, 2, maybe 3 turn-ins in a row, but as long as the enemy team doesn't lose gems and they find an opportunity at some point, they can then keep chaining turn-ins. And it's very easy to get a turn-in after Webweaver phase already happens. It's easier to chain a turn-in after, because you're going to have all of that map pressure, so you can back up, force the enemy team to have to come into you, where your posture to be able to deal with that well. And so the enemy team would then be a little bit maybe not wanting to jump into that point where you're already set up, though. So I agree, it often goes late, and it's probably in the middle of the map pool in terms of the ones that I like. That 4th, 5th, 6th, somewhere around there. But yeah, we'll see what these players do prioritize here on this draft.
I'm thinking back to just a lot of things, and I'm not gonna subjugate chat to more Cho'Gall yelling unless there's a potential setup for it. But realistically, I do want to talk about Zul here. I think Zul is a massively undervalued hero on Tomb of the Spider Queen. He's strong in the 4-member rotations. I think he's actually just really, really strong in the 4-man rotations. You could throw them in the solo lane, but I think there's so much more value to be able to amplify the waves with these skeletal minions you can raise with your trait. I think it's just an undervalued hero, but they're going to immediately go for this Johanna, as you and I talked about. She's great because you can rotate between top to mid easily. You hit W, you're condemned, you pull people in, you pull the minions in. A Kael'thas, a Jaina, a Gul'dan. You throw one Flame Strike, Blizzard, or Fell Flame, you clear that wave, you rotate to next lane. But I do want to point out one thing here, Khroen. They might not hear me yell about Shogal, but this is also, in my opinion, one of the best Asmodean maps. I know, but we could technically see it from our blue team because they do have the Johanna and that does compare well together. But ETC Deckard, I really like that combo right there from the Deckard Kane potion setup and ETC, a strong hero overall. Khroen, thoughts on the draft unfolding?
I like the Johanna priority on this map. It's one of the heroes that I highlighted just a little bit ago in terms of the wave clear potential that you need from Tomb of the Spider Queen. We don't see that yet though from the red side. We just see the tank and the healer pickup there. Ooh. Are we gonna see a Falling Sword Light Bomb combo onto a Deckard?
Possible.
What's gonna be the pick to follow up on that though? Tomb of the Spider Queen actually is a map that I don't like that combo a lot on because there's not a lot of space on this map to have engages. Like say you compare Tomb of the Spider Queen to Cursed Hollow. Cursed Hollow, you're not gonna be fighting a lot of the times near forts. You're gonna be fighting at those like tribute spawns where you can follow up pretty easily and not have to worry about being near enemy structures. But again, not the case on Tomb of the Spider Queen here. So maybe we're gonna see still just a Blessed Shield and maybe the Anduin just a priority there for that blue team. We did see them play it last game as well, so maybe just a bit of a comfort pick there.
Oh, respecting the Sylvanas from the last game,
Yep.
I don't blame them whatsoever. My only kind of like issue with the Falling Sword Light Bomb is what happens to Mosh Pit, because you literally, at least at this point, you only have one interrupt for Mosh Pit, and let's say John and Ando get Mosh, there's literally no interrupt right now. So it's just, I feel like we'll see Blessed Shield, but I'm not counting the Falling Sword potential out, as that is going to be, and I said this yesterday about Champ before, and I think I'm correct in this statement as well. John Knight has a very, very strong Rexar. There's a running joke in some of the leagues I've casted where Tomb of Spider Queen, this is the only map where you can take Flare. And some people in chat might be like, Bahamut, Flare's dumb. Why would you take Flare? It has like a 30-second duration, and I've seen Rexars throw it in the bottom lane turn-in because they're afraid of getting rotated and picked on. So they can play the bottom lane more aggressive because they see that rotational area and they can push into the solo laner. So it's a very small chance we'll see it, but it's an adaptation I like to see Rexar players on Tomb of the Spider Queen take, because it's a cool little way to be like, I'm gonna play this hyper aggressive in the bottom lane. But Cassia Leoric on the left hand side, tons of blinds coming between the Johanna and the Cassia.
Yeah,
I would expect maybe a Valkyrie game to maybe pull someone out from the backline, or still another ETC Mosh Pit interrupt possibility, as the last pick needs to be some sort of mage wave clear for our red team. This will be that Jaina.
Yeah, I'm not surprised there to see that Jaina pick up on the side of the red team. I needed some wave clear, and Jaina's going to be a good pickup for that. The Cassia, though, if she goes Valkyrie, I will be worried about the damage output that the blue team can have. It's basically like Tassar is a little bit of damage. Same with Leoric, but Ando and Johanna not really going to contribute much to that. Cassia on her own may be lacking a little bit. The thing that they do have, I think, in their favor is wave clear. Blue team should be out rotating the red team unless the red team is able to find any kills, which they could. I think Mr. Christie on that ETC is going to be looking for a lot of aggressive slides here, because again, low damage to the blue team means you can get away with things like that. And a good follow-up from Mason Blades, which of course I'm going to be expecting a good follow-up after what we saw last game. I think they have a lot of things going for them. The draft, honestly, kind of even, but I think I would have to lean a little bit towards the side of the red team if they can deal with the faster wave clear of blue.
Well, let's go ahead and find out what's going to happen here in our map number 2 of our first 3-game series of the day. We have on our blue team Infrared on the Cassia, Nathanatos on the Leoric, Inside Out on the Anduin, Detrio on the Johanna, and Rosmix on the Tassadar.
And over on the red side, we have Centurion on the Jaina, Mason Blaze on the Deckard, John Knight on the Rexar, Roger on the Greymane, and Mr. Christie rounding things out on that tank ETC.
Niacin Renewal for the Leoric, so maybe just a little bit more 1v1 sustain in the solo lane. We'll have to see. Also to note, we are going to be seeing Sapphire on the Deckard, so it's a lot more setup with that Haraja Cube slow, and then Bird of Prey for the Rexar. This is what I was saying. I doubt we see Flare because Bird of Prey is so hard to argue against.
Yeah.
The Spirit Swoop damage is increased by 150% to minions. That's just, you need that on that Rexar for the extra wave clear. As a little bit of back and forth in this mid lane. Iron Skin to be popped by Joanna. They're going to continue their rotations or begin the rotations from mid to top as our solo laners will work their way into bottom lane. And that's a power slide from Mr. Christie. Rosmix gets the leap of faith. 190 something health as the trio's getting so much damage, and Roger dives in with the claws and finds the first blood for the red team.
Remember when I said this draft is close, Baha? I said it was close for one reason. Because blue team should be ahead of the wave clear rotations, but they are not. They are behind in the wave clear, and they are getting killed. I think it heavily leans in the favor of the red side now. And because of the identification of red to be able to step up and find kills like that. Now, immediately after they get that the advantage there in the wave clear, Roger and Mason Blaze over to do these bruisers. Bruisers are being done, though, by Cassia and Anduin on the other side, but they are so slow. Like, Cassia doing bruisers is such a rough thing to watch here. It's like, okay, I can Q. Ooh, it didn't hit everything. Okay, unfortunate. All right, gonna fend. Ooh, okay, that wasn't not much damage either. And the red team bruises already at the wall.
And look at bottom lane right now. We actually have the bruiser camp being grabbed by Greymane. Leorc trying to harass us, but they can't actually bring anyone down to try and counter steal this or counter the engagement because they're so busy on that mid lane engagement. As that's going to be a charge from the Misha Bear. A lot of damage. Ghanaian Cocktail, the Razor Swipe, and Roger is on fire with a double kill overall in the matchup.
That was, okay, so not something that every Greymane player would do, but Roger identified beautifully right there. You don't want to leap on Leorc immediately because Leorc's going to Wraith Walk out, and then as soon as you're out of range, he's going to recast it and not be in range of you. But waiting for the Wraith Walk to go its full distance and then jump to secure the kill. Great DPS plays there by Roger on that Greymane.
Amazing setup also from John Knight with the control of this Misha Bear. The micro is a big factor when you play this character. And how do you control Rexar? How do you control Misha? Can you keep the bear alive long enough? I want to note some of the... Rosmix power slide. Mr. Christie is going to block them. Force might have been to stop the Greymane. I'm not sure, but Mr. Christie, you don't have they have a face melt. No power slide. Healing from Mason Blaze might not be enough here, and they find a kill in the ETC, dropping what looks like 6 to 8 gems, if I'm not mistaken. Overall, Khroen, this is actually a great back and forth right now.
It is because of that, a little bit of overextension there. There was the Greymane rotating up to follow up, but I mean, you're sliding real far away there, and the rotation blue was good in terms of getting that counter kill. Now they're going to be able to find the opportunity to get some gems in, which is really important here. And they're actually leading in gems now after everything is said and done. Blue, they're not going to be able to get a turn in the bottom side, assuming John Knight is on top of things there. A little bit of an engage here in the mid lane. Mr. Christie just picking up some gems and walking away. But blue team, they're showing some signs of life here.
That was a Gladiator's Medallion from Centurion not to get hit by just the Condemn. I think they were worried about a potential follow-up Chastise, which they did end up eating. 7 talent tiers should be here on both sides. I want to note some of the questing talents really quickly for anyone wondering. 15 out of the 200 stacks for the static charge on the Tassadar. They just picked up the Subdue on that Joanna, so while they might not finish it out, they will have that 80% slow so long as they hit 2 or more enemy heroes. Power slide from the ETC is actually going to be coming out. There's the Iron Skin pop from Trio, as that is ETC getting picked off once again. Looks like about 4 or so gems on the ground right there. Just really quickly also to finish up these questing talents, the Jaina is at roughly 2,266 frostbite damage out of the 15,000 necessary. We have 12 out of the 20 stacks for Fingers of Frost, 6 out of the 25 for the Hunter Gatherer and for the Rexar Misha, and 11 out of the 20 for the Proc Rock for the ETC. Now, Khroen here. Casanova and I talked last weekend, I wouldn't say extensively, but quite a bit about this. Gem turn-in prioritization. At this point, both teams have a turn-in priority, but do you go and save up enough for back-to-back turn-ins, or do you look for that initial pressure with just one Webweaver phase? Because Cass was noting, you know, you want to go for the doubles, you want to kind of save up to be able to have that opportunity. What are your thoughts on the matter?
Yeah, it's not bad. Oh, actually, the framing getting blown up very quickly there. There's kind of a lot of chain deaths here happening on the side of the red team. Now even Mr. Christie might be falling down. There is not seemingly a lack of damage from the blue side here. They are finding those overextensions from the red team, punishing them. So they will not be able to chain turn into the blue side, which means red team might be able to get a turn-in afterwards. I think ideally it's either good to be able to be in a situation where you can chain turn-ins, or have an XP advantage so great that you get a talent tier advantage.
Okay.
Then you're able to control the map so much, whereas you get, chaining turn-ins doesn't really matter quite as much here, but there's definitely merit to both. However, blue team opting to get that turn in there, and they are going to be a talent tier up soon here. If they're able to get more kills with that, then I would definitely say it's worth it.
Nice force wall into Mr. Christie, who's going to face melt the enemy team back, power slide away, and they won't get picked off. Still, though, it's going to be close experience, but with the 3 kills in favor for our blue team over the 2 kills on the red, they will find 10 talent tier first. It will be a Valkyrie on that Cassia, pretty much standard across the board on everything else. We're not going to be seeing any sort of falling sword light bomb shenanigans in this Tim the Spider Queen game, but right now I'm looking at the gem count for both sides. 43 in the pockets of our blue team, 41 in the pockets of the red, and they only need 3 more to turn in. So realistically, they could go for that turn in, pick up quite a few gems during this objective phase in their favor, and then look for that secondary or back-to-back, if you will. The big factor for them is just not losing anyone during the Webweaver phase. We do see Greymane on the right-hand side with some friends grabbing that camp, and we're now looking at the same thing on the left-hand side for the blue team, as there is going to be the red Webweavers descending in the top, mid, and bottom. What do they do with this here, Khroen? Because heroics are all off cooldown. We're at 10s. Everyone's up.
Yeah, you just gotta be looking to get as much siege damage as possible here. When the blue team is responding to opposite lanes, they could aggress at the lane which is the weakest, and they're looking to do that in the mid lane here. Mr. Christie should look for some sort of engage here. Tassadar is rotating down. John Knight spots that out, though. Good stall there, but Leorg is still bottom. So I'd like to see red make a play happen here so that they can have that pressure to chain turn-ins later.
I did hear the Boars Unleashed from John Knight, and I saw Rosmix got a leap of faith on the top of our screen, so a little harassment coming out as there's going to be a Light Bomb Bless Shield set up as well. They're going to find the Chastise damage into the Jaina, as there's going to be a Valkyrie pulling someone into a mosh pit. No interrupt coming out from that, as there's going to be the Condemn from Joan in the backline. Tassadar still trying to throw out damage in this Archon form to Trio so very low, get some healing out from the Anduin just in time, and I cannot believe it. They managed to stave off this mid lane pressure. Bottom lane getting cleared out by Leoric, top lane just about to be cleared out, and this is maybe a dive onto the Thanamos, but they're able to Wraith walk right out of there, and it's not that big of a deal. I don't even think they this bottom lane fort, Khroen.
It's going.
Okay.
They might be able to. There's going to be a blue team collapse here in a second. Trio leading the charge here. Rexar, though, stopping the rotations with Micha. They do take the fort. I think they are going to run away very safely. Now, they got to turn in, but blue team is up nearly a full level right now. And they have another turn in. Red team is 1 gem away, so they could get it here. There's still the same talent here. Good Wraithwalk by Leoric there to get to safety. Yeah, blue team actually doing some good stuff here. In the last team fight, Jaina did not have Medallion available. I think it was still on a 30-second cooldown, or just about. So taking out Jaina means you don't have a lot of damage remaining.
And they're going to try and make another fight happen here before 13s. They dive onto the Tassadar. Stay a while, and Listen's going to connect. Light Bomb's going to be coming out as well. Power Slide from the ETC will be going through so many members, and they find the double kill into the Tassadar and the Joanna, dropping so many gems, destroying the economy that they've built on the side of the blue team.
That's the kind of team fighting that I wanted to see out of the red team. They were doing it early on, but there were some moments from the blue team where they were able to counter that. There, though, we got some great damage. We got the Greymane leaping onto the Tassadar to secure the kill. There were still 2 more members there, and Anduin can only grab one of them to safety. Unfortunately, Johanna was the one that was not pulled, and she fell because of it. Now, red team, they already got that bottom fort with that Rexar push. Now they can take probably both middle and top, as well as maybe some walls here.
It's a little late, but do you want to try and jump to some comms real quick?
Yeah, sure. Let's jump into red team comms, see how they approach this push.
Dio's still bottom.
Yeah, we can
maybe
go cast. We can go cast.
Yeah, we can cast it, okay.
I'm just running at her to scare her off. We get this for free.
I think we should go top.
Let's push mid that.
Probably. We can just do this though.
I do have combo.
Taz is still top. We can push this a little bit.
Okay. I do have combo. I can just combo wall.
Alright, it's bad. They might look.
We
Do you want
bottom.
camp still, by the way?
Can't be sap bottom until.
Yeah, we should clear top wave first. As soon as this dies.
Okay, we see Leo.
It's
We see
killing.
all of them.
It's the only way we can get this wave. It's so far pushed up. I just want to get one more.
So far.
Okay. Yeah, I should looked at our own minions. I should looked at our own. That was bad. That was a waste of time.
Okay, they're right there. Just keeping bear on them for vision.
Yeah, we probably should have done bot game, but that's fine.
Yeah, it's
They're
fine.
gonna try and turn bot. I don't know if we can.
I can look for a bottom card if they show top. Oh, they show
We
the
can-
top. I can look
we
for
are
bottom.
bruisers,
Yeah.
They're split. They're split. They're split.
We can do
Okay,
bot.
okay.
You Rod, you go bot first.
Yeah.
Go bot.
Okay, okay, okay. I like it.
Just keep a look on top shrine.
I'm gonna drop pots here then.
I'm going down to camp.
Khroen, we didn't get to the comms of any sort of major fight, but what are your thoughts on all that? Because I think there was a lot of wonderful communication moments there.
Yeah, even though there was no fight, that was actually really insightful to me. While Mason Blaze kind of didn't keep track of the wave and exactly where it was, I like that idea a lot. I think it's very intelligent to recognize that if there's only one way to get a wave, that's to go there immediately and to get those gems. Like, otherwise you're not gonna be able to get those gems, and gems are how you get turn-ins, which are how you win the game. So the idea there was great. And recognize, oh, I should have looked at our own wave to know where their wave was, but it was just a little bit of a mistake, but honestly, it's not a big one, and I like the idea there. They end up getting the camps out anyway, and their posturing was actually so good there. They recognized Tassadar was top, they recognized there was members in the mid lane, so they were able to take control of the rest of the map. Now an engage here on Cassia, who's too far forward, gets slowed by Deckard Cain, slid by ETC, and red team maintain control. They lose, actually. Blue team loses a few gems there with the Cassia, though.
Yeah, that was, when I glanced at it last time, it was just about 70, and when I looked just a second ago, it was like 56-ish or something like that. So,
yeah,
a lot being lost there, and it looks like they're going to just make a quick rotation of boss. I don't think they rotated through wave, but this might have been telegraphed to the blue team, and without the Cassia, I mean, what are they going to do? Throw in some shock rays with the Tassadar? There's just not enough CC, not enough control coming out from our blue team to fight against this. I do really want to shout out Mason Blaze once again. Just the Sapphire applied to the Haraja Cube for the initial setup, and then John Knight with the Misha Bear charge. It's just good CC, good follow-up, good communication coming out from them, as Detrio and Mr. Christie are going to kind of run next to each other.
Yeah.
Turn-in availability is here for our red team. Same can be said for the blue. Cassia now back up. 17's up on both sides, but it seems like they want to force this boss to the top lane.
As long as Red isn't losing members here, that's so good. And even, wow, so much initial damage there between the Curse Bullet and the combo there to damage Johanna. She is going to heal up to full. So red team, they're already posturing to back up. And I like this, actually. They have turn-in available. They don't want to die. Blue team is going to be looking here. So they're going to, yeah, back up. The waves are already going to be in their favor. For blue side, that isn't the worst here, but the keep will end up falling not to the boss, but to this Webweaver phase that's going to happen. While that boss is being captured, I actually really would have liked to see blue. Of course, they turn in on the other side of the map. They did not do that, though, so now they're going to be in the back foot. And now Leoric with those 50 gems. If Leoric falls and they lose those gems, that will now spell disaster on the side of the blue team.
Shattering the economy, potentially, if they're able to find that. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was something that is mentioned or being talked about or discussed within the comms of our red team. Like, Leoric's got 50. They can hit tab and see that information themselves. It's not hidden, as Nathanatos will be able to just kind of back off, providing some vision for the friendly team, scouting them out as they did make this rotation through the Bruiser camp into this mid lane as they're looking for a keep here. You mentioned beforehand that top lane keep should go down to the Webweaver, and it definitely will, as that wave is very far pressed forward. John Knight just microing that Misha Bear power slide from the ETC. No mosh pit dropped. There's going to be the light bomb coming out from, onto Infrared, and they don't find anyone with that. Centurion was low, cycled back, got a couple potions from the Deckard Cain. Top lane keep already went down. That's going to be a mosh pit going out. They connect onto one. That's going to be Tassadar and Johanna going down. There's an Entomb into the backline as they're trying to Wraith walk through everyone to reduce their damage from that level 13 talent tier, the ominous Wraith, but that's not enough. They move through the top lane keep. They move through the mid lane keep, and it's seemingly our red team taking game number 2 on Tomb of the Spider Queen. All they have to do is rip through 60-some% of the core, and that doesn't seem like it'll be an issue for them here. Khroen, it's going to be GG for our red team.
It will be. No, okay, barely even losing one at the end there as Mr. Christie does fall, but it was worth it at that point. Mr. Christie on the ETC. If we're talking about MVPs, think about him. It might be Mr. Christie. I think there was some really good moshes, especially one there at the end to seal the deal, close those games out. And that was a Tomb of Spider Queen game that didn't go as late as we would usually expect, but that's because there was such good team fighting that we've seen from the red team. They did it in game number 1, and they did it again in game number 2. Not only the team fighting, but knowing exactly what to do after that to press their advantage, whether it be turn in, do mercs, look for minion waves, or even end the game. And we saw they recognized they had the win condition right there. They capitalized upon it, and it was very well played overall by that red team.
I had a blast with this game. Like
Yeah.
I have like nothing against the blue team whatsoever, but this red team is just firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
It's just the stats. They're lower than the blue team, but it's just, we've talked about this in previous weeks, effective damage versus the actual numbers, like actual versus effective. And red team is showcasing, well, exactly how effective they can be with just their even lower numbers. But all of that aside, we've had 2 wonderful maps so far. What we're going to do is we're going to let all the players take a small break here, let them get a little bit of water, refresh themselves for our final game in our first 3-game series of the day. Don't go anywhere. We have more HeroesCCL action presented by Roll20 coming back at you in just a moment.
Roll20 lets you build maps, drag and drop tokens, and other features that your kitchen table just can't do.
My table can't do any of those things.
No. Also, Roll20's video and voice feature let you connect with more people. So if you wanted to invite Lucas and Ariel...
Hey guys.
Hello. What's going on?
That's no problem at all.
Ready to play?
Your friends, your games, your table, Roll20.
After a long day of work, nothing refreshes me more than a cold beer and a hot shower. That's why I use Duke Cannon's big-ass beer soap. This big-ass brick of soap is actually made with old Milwaukee beer. But guess what? It don't stink. It actually smells pretty damn good, like cedar, sandalwood, and other pleasant things that I don't even know about.
Welcome back to HeroesCCL, presented by Roll20. My name's Bahamut, still joined by Khroen. Are you ready for our game number 3 in our first 3-game series of the day?
I am definitely ready, and I'm ready to see a couple of things. Not only Red Team continue with the dominance that they've been showing so far, but Blue Team has shown a lot of good signs. They had a lot of momentum, and specifically that last game, Tomb of the Spider Queen, during that kind of late early to mid-game sort of stages, they were getting a lot of kills there. They had a lot of good things going for them, so they can work well as a team together. They recognize they can get those picks. They can get some map control back in their favor. They just need to keep it going. I think the draft was a large reason why they couldn't that last game. So if their draft is actually going to be more even, or even a little bit of an outdraft in game number 3, I think that we can very much see them take a game. But Red Team, man, they've been playing so impressively. It's going to be hard.
Well, let's go ahead and find out where we're going to for our map number 3, as I'm sure you're at home itching to know, well, what is the map? And it is going to once again be our Blue Team opting for first pick priority as the losing side, and our Red Team choosing to take us to Towers of Doom. Khroen, you and I have talked about this extensively through previous weeks, and I think Casanova last week was agreeing with me in the fact that Towers of Doom is one of the top 3 maps when it comes to competitive play in Heroes of the Storm, and we are already here ready to go into our draft with that one. Towers of Doom. I know that I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. We can talk about other things. Legitimately, Valeera Abathur is a really it's a very niche thing that I've actually seen on this map, and I'd love to see that. Samuro did see nerfs in our most recent patch, so I don't know how his priority shifts. Do we see Abba Samuro? The reason I'm harping on the Abathur because this is also a wonderful map for Abathur to have some split pressure consistently throughout the game. But is that too much of a deficit into either side? Like if Blue Team takes it, will Red Team just run them over 5v4 consistently, or will Red Team actually have kind of a weakness in their armor by taking an Abathur, and the Blue Team can actually have a 5v4 consistently? Is that a worry in your mind, Khroen, or is it just like, nah, you take Abathur, you just win?
There's always a worry if you fall really far behind with an Abathur because you aren't able to really team fight or skirmish effectively before you get level 10. I believe it was yesterday we saw a team wonderfully pilot the Abathur Genji, and they didn't even lose like a single member until like an Abathur ended up getting picked off by a Falsat or something, and then one Genji death. One Genji death towards the later stages of the game. But if you're able to not die in the early game at all and scale up, then it's kind of just like, yeah, you win as long as you play team fights well and you have the identification to be able to execute on that. We might see Abathur on this map. It is a good Abathur map. There is Mule as well, which is huge in terms of defending those bottom forts once you're able to take them. The Vikings banned there by the Red Team. I can't blame you. I can't blame them rather for that ban. Vikings are rather annoying to deal with, can be capping those shrines as well as getting all of that soak. And once you're able to propel a talent to your advantage, then you can do things like take a bottom lane fort and hold it for the rest of the game there. Let's see what Blue Team takes, and it is a Stukov. I think I'm not sure. I didn't catch all the drafts in week number 2, but at least for the ones that I have participated in, this is the first time I've seen a Stukov prioritized in the literal first pick of the game.
I'm trying to think back to last week. I'll have to double check my notes at the break and let you know, but I don't think we've actually had it. I could easily, I just don't have enough time to pull it up because I don't have it handy. But yeah, no, I think you might be right in that. You know, speaking of just first times, I was doing my notes last night after last night's stream, and there's the Abathur. Yesterday's Cursed Hollow game was our literal first Cursed Hollow game.
Really?
Like, at least in my notes, I don't think we've actually had a Cursed Hollow game until yesterday. I might be wrong in this. I have to double check it, but like I was going in and entering, and usually it auto completes, and there was no autocomplete, and I started looking. I was like, I don't think we've gone here. But anyway, sorry. Muradin Abathur was grabbed by our Red Team, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Is this the opportunity for Blue Team to kind of steamroll them or play aggressive? And now we're seeing a Yrel grabbed, a Greymane grabbed. I wouldn't be surprised if they look into a Diablo. And since they don't have a tank, I would actually consider banning Diablo, or maybe Garrosh. Maybe Garrosh, because Stukov Garrosh is strong too. I don't know. What are your thoughts? What would you go for?
Actually, now that you mention it, both are really good tank picks here. They're going to ban neither of them. They're actually going to ban the ETC. I think you want, if you're Blue Team, you want early game kill pressure. As I was saying, that is where the Abathur comp's weakness can be exploited, is in that early game. If you're able to pick I mean, it could have been ETC as well. But if you make an ETC, a Diablo, a Garrosh, and find picks in the early game rotations, you can accelerate the game from there. Yrel is going to be just a solid offline pick, but Stukov and Greymane are going to be great in terms of following up on whoever that tank is going to be. Blue team does not want the Abathur Samuro to come through, so they will ban that out there. But there's still so many heroes available, I think, that would be good for the red side. They can Abathur. I hesitate in saying
Genji. Yeah.
I was gonna say Tracer, but then I hesitate saying Tracer. I think Tracer is countered pretty well by Greymane. Statistically in that matchup. John Knight picking a Chen. Is this the first Chen, Baha, that we're seeing?
No, we did have Chen last week, and we had Keg W as well last week. So, and if I'm not mistaken, I think John Knight's a barrel boy. So we might see some wandering. I'm hoping for it regardless. Storm Earth and Fire is still very, very strong.
Yes.
Looking at this composition, I love the idea of a Diablo for the dive, and then a Li Ming for like resets to pair to the Greymane, but it's going to be in a Nubrak, so a little bit more of a bug snack coming out for our blue team with a Sylvanas for a little bit more lockdown and push. I mean, her mobility is great as well, and I'm excited to actually see this on our blue side to wrap things up for our red team. They need some sort of damage though. Like there's not enough damage here. They need actually, you know what? I say you just go Jaina. She's a really good clone target overall in my book.
I'm worried about that into Nubrak. Usually auto attackers do excel better into a Nubrak, so you can't really pressure a kill onto a front line, which Jaina likes to be able to hit. Cassia though, is Cassia going to be enough? Cassia has a good matchup into the Greymane, is an auto attacker, so it's already just baseline good into the Nubrak. Blinds for the Greymane. One of the reasons why it is a good matchup there. The Chen, I think you have to go, what is it, Storm, Earth, and Fire? I think you have to go that if you're Chen here, because you need to be able to pressure a lot of damage there. It can't just be bullying people around with that Wandering Keg, because it's not actually going to accomplish anything at the end of the day. It's like, it's cool and fun and all, but if you push someone in...
Wandering Keg, so you get damage plus bops. I don't know. Realistically, though, because there's so much dive and burst, I agree with you. Storm Earth and Fire, you sit there, you stagger a full bar of, stagger damage, and then you just pop Storm Earth and Fire. Hopefully you don't get interrupted by a Nubarak or Yrel or Stukov. Yeah.
Or Sylvanas Wailing Arrow as well.
Oh, shoot, you're right. Yeah, there's a couple options right there.
Yeah, the channel time is fairly short, though, so I don't think you would usually get canceled by a Stukov or a Sylvanas. Maybe a Nubarak Yrel, though, if their reaction timing is going to be on point, which these players are proficient players, so definitely potential for that to be there, though. But let's introduce our teams for the final game of our first 3-game series today.
On our blue side, we have Nathanatos on that Yrel. Inside Out will be on the Stukov, Infrared on the Sylvanas, Detrio on the Anubrak, and Rosmix on the Greymane.
Over on the red side, we have John Knight on the Chen, Roger on the Cassia, Mason Blaze and Lucio, Centurion on the Abathur, and Mr. Christie on that Muradin.
I do believe Anubrak did have a little bit of a buff to their health pool and regeneration in the most recent patch, and they did go into Regeneration Master at level 1, which is only going to amplify that further. I'll try and check on that as the game progresses for anyone who's wondering what the actual regeneration rate for Detrio will be once they finish that out, or as they're getting further and further along with that. Same can be said about the Cassia with Thunderstroke and the Muradin with Perfect Storm, as well as the baseline. I want to point one thing out really quickly, Khroen. Cassia's already got 7 stacks of Thunderstroke. It's uncapped quest, but 7 stacks, 43 seconds in, not too bad for them.
Not too bad at all. That is very, very quick, actually. Actually, Mr. Christie sacrificing his life, but gets the kill for it. So, I mean, trading 1 for 1 there is not the worst. You do accelerate. If you're the red team, you accelerate your XP to get to level 10, which you want to be able to do. So I actually don't dislike that trade. They will still be able to get these siege camps out as the blue team is doing their own. However, blue team is doing a lot quicker, though, so they could look to invade here. Sylvanas and Anubrak are not posturing to be able to do so here, so I don't think that actually will happen. However, blue team just going to get that wave clear priority on the bot lane.
I was watching the camp on the right-hand side, and it's literally what you said in the last game on Tomb of Spider Queen. Cassia doing a camp on their own just feels bad, man. I love this little adaptation with Mason Blaze, though, on the Lucio. They ended up going into Accelerando at level 40, which is basically going to be increased movement speed while Wall Ride is active. And you throw the Abathur hat onto them as well. Yeah, you're not going to get a ton of damage from the Lucio. You have so much harassment and kind of damage out from that Abathur hat. I kind of love the harassment style that you can play this Lucio, and I've seen it from a lot of EU players, and it looks like we're going to be seeing that from Mason Blaze right now as Mr. Christie's looking for a couple raw storm bolts right there. 18 stacks on that Thunderstruck for the Cassie, 20 as they are just skyrocketing that. They're just skyrocketing that number. They're trying to push in this bottom lane, but they're not going to find anything. Push off into Rosmix. They're looking to dive onto them, but I don't think Mr. Christie finds the Stormbolt line up. Maybe they go for it?
No, I already think through Stormbolt out and it didn't connect. It could be crazy there, but Mr. Christie still looking to be so aggressive here. Stormbolt does come out onto a Nubarak, just finding a little bit of damage there. Going back to highlighting the Nubarak pickup though, and then Mason Blaze on the Lucio. Lucio is going to be rather safe. If you're getting Burrow charged as a Lucio, you're probably messing up a little bit actually. So if Mason Blaze is positioning correctly, not going to be in too much danger at all. It's like Greymane can be auto-attacking you a little bit, sure, but you really shouldn't find your way in a position where you're dying that often.
We will see. The setup for our objective phase is going to be the standard in the top lane, left and the right. The bottom will be in the lower position on the map. A little bit of poke from Roger with that Lightning Fury, just still stacking that up, and 28 stacks. It's blowing me away how quickly they're already working through that, and right now they're going to try and force them back. Actually, top lane, yeah, we see Greymane going down to the Abathur hat. Chen kicking in and finding that damage as necessary as Burrow Charge comes out from the Anubrak onto Roger. They get the Abathur hat themselves. They're going to drop a blind onto the ground. Infrared going to hit a couple of those Abathur mines as there's a little displacement from Mason Blaze with the Sound Wave, and Mr. Christie might have this channel another Sound Wave to knock back to Trio, and this is going to be a total of 8 shots into the blue core. But let's talk about top left right now. John Knight and Nathanumos are still 1v1ing as there's a rotation from blue, and I think they have to give this over. So red team will take at least 4 damage of their own.
But honestly, even that should never happen if you're the blue team there. I think Greymane rotating up to cap the top left was a little bit of a misplay. Should have left your rel to do that and then making sure you win the bottom lane. Again, the goal against Abathur is going to be to win the early game. But if you're losing that bot lane, that's so much pressure that you are giving up. You want to have that win condition of that core HP to threaten the Abathur comp to have to force out things maybe a little bit too much though. But red, they are up in XP, albeit very slightly. Teams are going to be trading out these siege camps here, as I think we'll just we'll have a trade happen there. But the Euro collapsed though, but it is a little bit too late.
Mason Blaze is going to be targeted. They jump over the wall as well. Speed boost from Lucio comes out. Stormbolt not connecting from Mr. Christie. And the camp pretty much has 1 skeletal defender at half health left, and I think that's all that's left. Oh, no, their wave, they did get into the wave. I thought that they cleared out those skeletal defenders, but we are 5 minutes into the game. That laugh signifies that the boss is up and available. I'm looking at Greymane on the minimap in mid lane, and I think they might get caught out by this Murd Lucio who's been harassing them. They're actually going to pop their medallion. Mason Blaze with this Abathur hat. I was talking about it beforehand, and I absolutely love the harassment style Lucio play coming out from them.
Oh, definitely. That harassment style is going... It is what is granting them advantages. It is because Lucio harassed the Greymane earlier on that was able to allow Chen to get that kill, and why they were able to win out that bottom shrine. And Mason Blaze consistently doing the same thing here. Mr. Christie with them storm bolts, letting Mason Blaze just run around, just... actually not a care in the world there. Lucio just doing his thing. Although there is a good engage here. Ditrio onto Roger, then turns onto Muradin there. Mr. Christie does overextend a bit and fall.
Gladiator's medallion out from the Muradin right there, as well as Roger. Roger, obviously, getting away because they used the medallion and they didn't get hit with the Impale, but this is going to be a single altar phase without their Muradin, and with only an Abathur, I think they 100% have to give this over. Infrared going to be trying to push up the wave. Abathur doing their best to just push this back as well, hatting the structures. Now, I also want to note, for anyone that might have missed this yesterday, in our most recent patch, the towers, forts, and keeps all had their damage increased against only heroes by 10%. So it's just a little note for anyone that is wondering, as we do have our 10 talent tiers across the board. Mr. Christie back in. They're stepping in. Burrow charge forward. That's only going to connect onto Centurion clone of the Cassie as they diving in here. That's going to be the web wrap onto the Lucio. Flailing swipe from inside out is really going to stall things out because they do not want to deal with double Cassia, and they stave off the engagement on the blue side, getting back to their front gate. Centurion still just trying to get some damage out with this Abathur clone, while that will deplete right there.
Flailing Swipe was really instrumental there in terms of the disengage. I thought Inside Out might actually get caught out at the end of the day there, but no, good sidestep there from, actually Mr. Christie though, getting a great Stormbolt onto Greymane, gets that kill there. Rosmix does fall, and Red, they're still doing it there. Weren't able to find any kills in the team fight, but they're finding kills outside of it, which Abathur comps love to be able to do. Now they are taking this advantage and invading the siege camp here as Chen even rotates down to help things out.
This is embarrassing, I'm not gonna lie here, Khroen. We're a level and a little bit more, and I'm just now noticing we have a Wandering Keg Chen. The fights have been quite intense here, as I'm just like, wait a minute, that's a blue little icon. But we have our single altar phase coming up here in 17 seconds. Do you want to jump to some comms and hear some of these conversations?
Always interested in jumping into an Abathur team, so the red team's comms here.
Let's do it.
Careful.
Let's hold down after kill.
I'm barreling them.
Nice.
I'm just
Trying to break it.
I'm ulting.
Blinded them.
Go back.
Yeah, I'm on back on call targets. Oh, ring swiped away.
Try big kill.
I'm on Rosmix.
I'm on right.
I can drop on.
I'm zoning.
I have a stun in one. Both of them?
I can tap. I'm capping now. It's fine, we got cat this time.
We have bot pushing.
Should be careful.
Some wild times right there, but I actually like that. The Wandering Keg, I'm kegging them, I'm pushing them back in, and really good communication coming out. They do lose their Murd, and in the end, they get the channel overall. What are your thoughts on the comms?
So first of all, thoughts on Wandering Keg, as that's been in my mind. I think the Keg actually showed its value there. When the Cocoon does come out, is when the blue team is going to be looking for kills, but you can't do that really when you're disrupted by the Keg for so long, and then it allowed time for Cassian to be able to get Lucio out of that web wrap, and they're looking for the re-engage. When the re-engage did happen, though, Lucio was very vocal about, actually Wandering Keg here. Going to be pushing in for it all the way back, and now they're going to be taking a fort on the bot side here. They're actually going to be looking to trade forts here, which is so... Oh no, okay. This is so good for red team here, and no. As blue team, you don't want to trade forts in the top lane here. The top lane fort actually is so less valuable than the bot lane fort for reasons that I've gone over time and time again, but just quickly highlighting it, it gives you so much more map pressure to get both of these bottom altars and the bottom siege camps. Now Red is rotating up to try to get a pick here. Mr. Christie looking at Rosmix here, but good heal there, but the fight does break underway either way.
That's Roger getting low. Mr. Christie popping the avatar form, has to dwarf toss away. Roger gets the mount up, pokes at Nathanimos as Lucio's doing their best to harass the main tank, which is kind of peeling them a little bit. A lot of back and forth, not really anything used. Actually, excuse me, web rep might have been used. Yeah, it was used right there, and Greymane cursed bullet, but double ultra phase are going to play this aggressive as the ball lightning comes out. There's a clone from Cassia, sound barrier used by the Lucio Wandering Keg to bop multiple members around as Inside Out's trying to get out of there, but John Knight gets the kick to the face. Cassia solidifies the kill right there as they chase in further. Looking at the trio, there's going to be a wonderful knockback sound wave from the Lucio as they fend on in, and they look at this Sylvanas. Centurion eats some tower shots, but Chen continuing to force out this left-hand side. We are looking at a total of 8 shots into the enemy core, taking them down to 20 health.
Abathur composition already ahead in the early game, getting good team fights, and now they are putting blue core health at 20 while they are sitting at 32 from their own, and they're going to be able to defend this bottom lane. Abathur Mule comes down to heal up the I guess, couple thousand HP that it's missing. They get the siege camp as well. They're going to be threatening this. They have Abathur slowly deep pushing the top lane. Yrel, though, is actually looking for Abathur here. Oh, she might find him.
Oh, if Yrel jumps over this wall, can we go look at top lane really quickly? If Yrel actually jumps over this, Abathur's going to try and slug their way out.
Okay.
And they don't get the kill. I can't believe it.
That is so good for Abathur recognizing that was a possibility and being ready for it. So running away there. Now Yrel has to waste time running all the way back to the bottom lane, but actually choosing to stop in the mid lane to clear this. I like that. You need to get some XP, you need to get level 16s, but a filling swipe and a medallion has to be used there for the new Brock to be able to survive. Red team is continuing to show their prowess in these games and show why that they are seemingly the stronger team in this series.
So I'm going to do some caster math, which we all know is never good, but Abathur roughly has 1,280 health, as actually Yrel gets dove on, Ardent Defender used, and Fred backs out. There's going to be the Burrow Charge from Detrio onto the enemy team as they find the Chen. No Wandering Keg used, Web Wrap onto the Cassia. They're going to try and clear that out as quickly as possible. Gladiator's Medallion uses. They're going to be able to walk away. They get hit with a Way to Pushel, being slowed by this front gate, but a triple altar phase will now be here and in favor for the blue team as they found that kill into Chen, looking to try and pressure onto this Burrow Charge back into the enemy team as they're looking to re-engage onto Mr. Christie and friends. Mr. Christie and friends turn onto the Greymane as that's going to be inside out, getting chased by the enemy side, but they don't get hit with a Stormbolt or anything, and they're able to back off. This just went from 12 shots going into the enemy core to this is not over just yet, as Mason Blaze is going to force them off on the left-hand side. What is happening, Khroen?
The red team are just taking control of this game here. They're getting the top right cap with Cassia. They're going to not be able to stall the middle lane. Detrio gets that cap there, but they're going to have every member now available. Greymane is still dead. The stun comes out onto Thanatos, trying to jump over the wall, but doesn't get it in time. Detrio, though, is here.
Flank coming in, nice Impale Burrow Charge setup, haunting wave through from Sylvanas. This is going to be a counter engage, flailing swipe to push them back. Roger going for the channel, but I don't think they're done poking at this yet. No, they're going to give this over. All right, my quick caster math for anyone who's wondering. At the time, Abathur had roughly 1,280 health. Yrel was doing 280 in auto. So it's somewhere in like the 5 autos Yrel needed to actually get the kill into the Abathur there, but this is a Wandering Keg going to target the Greymane, forcing them in under the keep as they're going to take a whole lot of damage. Ball lightning bounces from player to player as they get the kill with that, and there's a web wrap to try and shut it down, but it doesn't end up working out.
I love it. Wandering Keg, I've been sold. I see the value in this game from it as it gets another kill there on the Greymane. Mule will be available to heal up this bottom fort eventually. Blue team looking for a little bit of a 4v5 here. I'm not sure they can do that when they lost a 4v5 going the other way just a little bit ago.
They're gonna pop the Avatar 4. Mason Blaze looking to try and harass Detrio. Flailing swipe once again from inside out, but they're gonna dive onto Detrio and they find the burst they need. There's going to be a knockback with the Righteous Hammer. And they're not able to get them to the death zone, and that's another Wandering Keg coming out from Chen. They're gonna push Yrel into the corner, but they're not able to lock them in close enough. The clone from Cassia does go down, and Khroen, wow, that was actually a really good just sound wave from Lucio to force back the Yrel from the jump, and that denies them some wave clear. One Sapper going over. You were talking about the priority of bottom lane, and this is the reason why you have 2 Sapper camps you can feed over the wall, and that's 3 shots that just went in. This is a double altar phase coming out. If they grab both of these caps on the side of the red team, it'll be 1 core health for the blue side, and they can rush boss. But look, top lane Abathur could potentially turn things around. No, this bottom lane fort's so very low. I think they get this cap back over, and this is I think actually going to be a bit of a bigger gap actually.
Okay, a new Brack is spawning right now, so I think red team needs to be able to cap bottom altar and then 4 or 5v5 over the mid lane. As they're posturing to do just that. A new Brack is now coming in. This fight will get underway as John Knight stunned out.
There's a Wandering Keg. Curse Bullet did connect. This is just a Wandering Keg to cause some chaos. There's a web wrap onto this Mason Blazes. There's also a Wailing Arrow onto Mr. Christie. Everyone trying to back off. There's Ball Lightning bouncing from player to player. Still no 20 talents here, so no infinite Ball Lightning, as there's going to be a flailing swipe from inside out to save the Greymane. Yrel trying to dive out. Ardent Defender used. There's enough to share from the Chen as there's an just everything coming out from Detrio into this backline. Rosmix so very low. John Knight wants to get the kill, and they do find it with the kick, but did they overextend? They drink for a split second, still taking some stagger damage, but the burrow from Anubarak should be enough for a counter kill. This is 1-for-1 Khroen as the fight continues here on Towers of Doom.
Clone comes out, Centurion looking for more here. Stukov has been out of mana for the past 30 seconds, it feels like here. The Thanatos is still in this fight. They are Yrel. They are able to escape in a lot of scenarios, but maybe not this one here. Roger and Mr. Christie are collapsing. Thanatos jumps to the left, gets the Stukov kill, but Mr. Christie with the stun does find that kill. The trio now is on the retreat, but falls as well. Red team level 20s now. This altar in the middle of the map is still available. Roger, though, looking to get the siege camp as Mr. Christie caps. Infrared says, nah, I can't step up there. There might be enemies in the bush. I don't want to die. I don't want to chain deaths. So now, 3 core health remaining. They could go boss. They recognize that. They get off the siege camp. I like that.
I'm surprised this is the call right now, because I felt like this is a very slow call. And look at this right now. The blue team. Look at the blue team. Infrared. Inside out, Rosmix, they're trying to come in here. That's the haunting wave to scout out the bush. They know no one's in there, so they're going to step through this top one. Rosmix looking to enter in. There's the curse blow. They're going to dive in. There's the flailing swipe. Wailing arrow's going to be coming out as well. Mr. Christie dives onto the point. Rosmix is trying to find something happen here, but it's not. The wandering keg comes out. No one goes for the channel because they want kills instead. And that's Mason Blaze on the point. The members of the red team will take our first 3-game series of the day in a 3-0 fashion. GG. Well played, Khroen.
GG, very well played by the red side there. It was a little bit of a slow call, admittedly, to go to the boss, but they still made the call with enough time. There were still 2 members dead of the blue team. I like that. I like that play a lot. They showed why they won that series 3-0 there. Beautifully played throughout all the course of the 3 games there. I think if we're looking at an MVP from that game, I think I would say John Knight. The Chen, I have been enlightened in the ways of the Chen there, especially with the Wandering Keg. It got value that I didn't think that they needed, nor that I thought was even there. John Knight played that pick very, very well. Beautiful Wandering Kegs to disengage fights when a web wrap or a cocoon came out, and even to get kills like we saw in the bottom lane there. John Knight played it beautifully.
There was just so well played from them. Like nothing against our blue team. They had some outstanding plays as well, but our red team, let's actually go ahead and take a look at our red team roster, because I want to highlight these players again. They played this so very well in our game number 3. I want to quickly just note we have Mason Blaze, Mr. Christie, Roger, John Knight, and Centurion. And at this time, we are going to be pulling Centurion into our channel, and we will have them for a short interview. Congratulations on your 3-0 victory in our 3-game series. How you feeling after all that?
I feel pretty good. My team played really well. We actually had really good communication for people that just got thrown together, so it was great.
I honestly, before I throw this to Khroen, I am blown away by the communication you all had. The consistent turn of events in your favor in so many of these games was just amazing to watch. I'll be honest though, my really only quick question is the Abathur composition that was formed. You knew you were going to Towers of Doom. Was this like, we want to play Abathur, or were you just kind of playing the draft out a little bit?
We really just kind of played the draft out. Like we had input from everyone, and we just decided to run Abba at the last second. So we just went with it.
That's cool. No, I was just curious about the perspective on that choice right there. But throwing it over to Khroen, any questions from you, my friend?
Yeah, going back, you mentioning the communication, seemingly was really, really great. But it almost felt like to me, casting that naturally everyone just sort of knew where to be. They knew what role they had to play. Was that figured out in the communication, or did you feel as though it was a little bit just natural and everyone just kind of coming together and realizing what roles they needed to play in these games?
Definitely a bit more of the natural aspect, like just being together, people just where they needed to be, and it made really playing the Abathur comp, which can be somewhat hard to play if you're not experienced with it. It just felt like it was just normal, like just easy. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Not even the avatar composition, like even in all 3 games, like specifically the Infernal Shrines game sticks out in my mind. You're just a step ahead of the blue team in what feels like almost every single avenue there, from, being having the priority on those siege camps and getting the punishers and getting picks there is just really well played by your team though. So just huge shout outs. I think you as well played very, very well over the course of the 3 games. I'll pass it back to Baha if you do have a final question here for Centurion.
I just want to thank you for the games we saw, and just very much on the same note as you. These were a blast to cast. Thank you for playing in these and just showcasing your heroes. Is there any little shout out that you'd like to give before we let you run out of here, Centurion?
Shout out to CCL for making such an awesome event happen. So yeah.
No, we really appreciate you as well. So thank you for stopping in. Thank you for the interview, and congratulations once again on your 3-0 victory in our 3-game series here.
Yes, thank you very much.
Alrighty, well, Khroen, that's our first 3-game series of the day. But we're not done just yet. We have 3 more maps of Heroes of the Storm. But first things first, before we get into that, we got to take a little break. We got to organize our new 10 players and get ready for more Heroes of the Storm action. So we're going to take a small break. HeroesCCL will be right back, and we'll have more of that. Presented by Roll20. Thank you all for staying with us. We'll be back in just a moment. Thank you so much, Ludix from Granite Gaming, for joining me this afternoon for a short little interview. I believe it's 7 a.m. somewhere in Antarctica for you. You're kind of just roaming around the world right now?
Somewhere in Antarctica. Not sure exactly where, but somewhere around there.
Well, thank you for joining me. I'm super excited to get into this. And the first question I have is, what inspired Granite Gaming to join the CCL?
Obviously, Heroes of the Storm is basically where Granite Gaming began. That's where we founded, basically. And it all really started with, even before we came into HGC, we were fighting in the open divisions for a couple of seasons, I think 2 seasons, 2 open division seasons. But even before that, we had close relations to the Heroes of the Storm scene, I would say, mostly due to Kim, the co-owner of Granite Gaming, whose brother played for Fnatic back in the day, Quacknix. So even then, we already had quite close bonds to the Heroes of the Storm scene, the community, the game. I was playing it a lot myself, even though I was very, very bad at it. But even though, so that's basically how Heroes of the Storm caught our interest in the beginning. And when this initiative popped up, I mean, obviously we were all very heartbroken when Blizzard canceled HGC, because it was the start of our esports careers, like as an organization as well. And for it to suddenly just be taken away from us, that I don't know, it broke our hearts. Now with the CCL initiative, there was no question about it. We just wanted to get on board.
No, it's we're glad to have you. Now, looking at the Granite Gaming name, where did that come from? I mean, Simplicity literally was like, we just want to be simple, so we're just Simplicity. How'd you kind of come up with Granite Gaming?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, before Kim brought the idea of Granite to me, he had already come up with a name, and I have been asking him about it. People have been asking us about it, and to be fair, I think the right answer is that we thought it sounded cool.
Hey, if it sounds cool, why not go for it? I agree with you, absolutely. Like I think that was Michael Udall has been trying to figure out his team name, and he came up with 30K, but he's been thinking for a while, because the big thing is you want them as they're going to the core. Granite Gaming takes game number 1. You want to have that kind of that kind of sauce to it in a sense. So I like that. I'm glad that you just give an honest answer, because Simplicity was the same way. They were just like, we just want to be simple. We don't want to be too complex. So that's it. It's just going to be that name. So that's exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving away from the organization itself and more talking about the players, what is Granite Gaming excited to do for the players outside of just obviously scheduling matches and setting up scrims?
All right, so we've currently set up a pretty good team to handle all those administrative stuff that you just said, so the players can focus on the game. Apart from that, Granite Gaming, we've valued the family-like environment that we've created lately. Is something we value very, very dearly, and that is something that we offer our players as well, like an environment to strive and to prosper, I guess. We will obviously aim to invest into their personal, personal brands.
Yeah.
Social media brands, and that is something that I guess that's where we can help the most at the moment.
So it's a lot of just building the player's brand even outside of just the actual.
I think that's the answer I'm trying to come up with. Building the player's brands and inviting them to the family-like environment that we've been building, because we're really working on creating this community-like feeling with internally, which is something that's been very, very appreciated among, well, not only players but also fans, etc.
Yeah, no, building kind of this family or this community within Granite, within CCL is always exciting to see, and it seems like a lot of the organizations really want to just amplify the players even outside of the game, and it seems like Granite has that kind of already set up for them as well. Maybe even hinting at a couple other people that you already have on your staff. Were you mentioning that you have like coaches and stuff, or am I extrapolating a little too much there?
Yeah, we have been working on building a team, because if they would put me on that position, I don't know, I wouldn't come up with any good results, because I'm just not good at drafting people. I don't know too much about it. But yes, so this is where I don't want to disclose too much information. But we do have a small team that's already working very, very hard, I must say, with finding the right people, find the right players, scouting, and coach. Indeed, we have a coach. I think I can disclose his name. We're looking at, or he's actually already on board, Bad Benny.
Oh, dang! Really?
Yes.
That's a big deal right there. I'm not gonna lie. That's
a big deal.
Awesome.
Yes, indeed.
So okay, yeah, definitely. Now, actually, on the note of exhibition matches and scouting and looking for stuff, is there anything that stands out to you or maybe the organization itself when it comes to players? Like, are you looking for like that tank player that can just anchor, hold the team together? Are you looking for just a clutch healer that's always there? Like, what's something that stands out, or are you just more or less just trying to build the best team you can?
Obviously, trying to build the best team we can, but as of now, we've looked at all the players that have signed up for CCL. And as of now, we're looking extra at frontliners for early picks. I guess that's where our focus lies. But we're also looking at EU players, and we're also looking at former Granite players like Lauber, Darkmark, Samklotta, Henning, Sammy.
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't hurt to, you've had them established within Granite before, so they already kind of know how the organization works. So it's not bad to look at some of, I wouldn't say ex-players, but just previous players you've worked with. So that's actually exciting, and I'm sure maybe they're happy to hear that information as well. Now, is there anything players can do to kind of catch your eye? I know a good example is Breakwood, who's just been on Twitter adding every single one of the organizations with their highlight reels. Is that what catches Granite's eye? How can people get, Granite to look at their stuff?
That's actually a very good question. It has caught my attention when people tag us in different highlight reels, or I should say the first few who did it caught my attention. But then there were so many, and I couldn't just go through all the highlight reels because I didn't have the time for it. So I guess since I'm not making the draft around here, I'm simply looking at how the player can fit within Granite and our brand. So I'm more looking at the person, whereas our team will look at, I guess our team will mostly look at their performance during the show matches, I guess.
Well, that makes sense, because obviously you have your core, let's say, analysts just watching, the fine details and listening to comms and stuff, but like that is a good thing to consider too, is how do they synergize together? Because that is a critical factor, especially in a competitive game where you have 6 players on a roster together. They need to synergize. That's actually a really good point, that, just being a strong communicative person is always a very helpful thing. I guess just to kind of on the other end, what's something that, Granite doesn't want to see? A lot of the organizations say toxicity, and it's not something we see much of, but is there anything else that, even just outside of toxicity, like maybe if you pick Convection Kael'thas?
Nah, I don't think that would I don't think, maybe that would be a turn off in a way, but nah, I think I was thinking about this question from after watching the previous interviews you did, and I'm definitely, I mean, I have to sign under the toxicity. So, I mean, I know we haven't seen a lot of toxicity in the Heroes of the Storm scene, which I'm very grateful for, but we as an organization have seen it in a lot of other scenes. Not going to mention any names or any other games or any scenes or so, but there's a lot of toxicity out there, and I don't know. It makes me sad. Like,
I get it.
It's not supposed. It's supposed to be fun. Everything. It's supposed to be fun. I know there's a lot of money involved nowadays, but that's no reason to be toxic. So that's definitely the biggest turnoff.
Yeah, it's not something that you guys want. It's very, very clear, and it's sad that it does exist in many realms of the esport world, or even just in regular competitive play. Kind of wrapping things up a little bit here for our interview. Is there any kind of last little bits that you maybe want to tell the players? Is there any like tips or tricks to catch your eye, or just to maybe even get them under your radar for the draft day on October 17th?
Yeah, definitely keep up the highlight reel. But if you really want to catch our interest, don't tag all the organizations in one post. Contact us privately, and I'll definitely make sure to go through it.
Awesome. Well, there you go, everyone. You got to go directly to Granite Gaming to actually get them the information and to get them their eyes on you. Thank you so much for joining me for the interview. I hope you can make it through Antarctica okay, and we'll see you on October 17th for the live draft. You have a wonderful day. Thank you again for joining me, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Welcome back to HeroesCCL, presented by Roll20. My name's Bahamut. Joining me for our final 3-game series in our exhibition matching is going to be Khroen. Are you ready for our final games, my friend?
I am ready. We have 3 more maps of the exhibition matches, and I am excited to get underway. Again, it's sad that's come to an end, but I think this matchup is one that I am particularly excited for, specifically because of these rosters. Now, Baha, let's get into introducing them, because there's some standout players here for sure.
We can go ahead and take a look at our blue team roster initially right now, because it's the same for me. You and I were talking about this earlier. We have Enigmatic, Dark Chimera, Direk, Grumman, and Unaverted for that blue team. Who's going to be on that red side?
Over on that red side, we have Hennig, Mindhawk, Mopsio, Rutsuo, and Ridzuza.
That is going to be some stacked teams. Khroen, what stands out? I guess not what, but who stands out to you the most in these 10 players?
All right, couple of players. I'll take one from each team.
Okay.
Dark Chimera. I mean, Dark Chimera is a good friend of mine, so maybe a little bit of bias there, but Dark Chimera, previous HGC player, I think has always played really, really well, as a strong support pick there. But Mopsio on the other side, on that red team, Tank Lord, he has played so well over the years, and he's back to do it again. So I'm excited to see what Mopsio will be able to bring out here today.
Well, we'll go ahead and we know what our 10 players are going to be, but where are we going to be going for game number 1 of our final 3-game series of the day? It is going to be the map pick of our red team, as they have banned out Tomb of the Spider Queen and Garden of Terror. Blue team is going to go ahead and opt for our first pick priority, as I believe they won the coin flip, banning out Dragonshire and Sky Temple. But we are here, we are ready to go, and we have Battlefield of Eternity draft for all of you at home. Khroen, we are going to Battlefield for the first time today. This is a race-heavy based map when it comes to the Immortal Burn. You want to make sure you get through Belth or Alarian's health fairly quickly. But I was just about to say, do we consider hyper carry compositions? And, well, not at least with the Zarya being taken away. Anything else that you maybe get rid of here?
I think there's always the priority on heavy race heroes like Li Ming or like Greymane here, but you might just see more of the unorthodox picks for bans here, maybe like a Samuro or like an Abathur, things like that you don't really want to deal with. Medivh as well, I think, fits into that niche role as well that players are sometimes unwilling to play against, but it will just be a meta ban here, at least for the blue side, with the Urel. Diva is still available as of now, but we'll see what the red team does decide to ban for their final one of the initial phase here.
So far, Diva and Chromie, I believe, have 100% involvement rate with our exhibition matches, and that's the case as well. I want to make one quick note for anyone that's wondering. Mopsio is LCS player, just for anyone that is like, wait, where's Mopsio's name? I don't see it. It's just for anyone that doesn't know. But that's going to be a snap first pick onto Li Ming. Battlefield, that kind of makes sense, but I mean, there's other heroes that I think there would be a higher priority. Greymane, Ana, at least just those two stand out to me a little bit more. Any reasoning for this Li Ming play, you think?
I actually think I would lean towards saying Li Ming is higher priority than Greymane, at least in my mind.
Okay.
I think it always does leave open the option to go Ana or force the enemy to deny Ana, which we do see there. Hennig does lock in that Ana, but Li Ming's always going to be able to find poke onto the Immortal, whereas Greymane won't always if you're not in the position to be able to do so. Li Ming is rather safe though, has a blink away. Greymane could get caught out though, and it could lead to some awkward scenarios. Cassia and ETC though, we're seeing a lot of Cassia actually today, more than I would originally have expected, but it's worked out really well. I think we saw in the last series, the Towers of Doom game, that Cassia had 92,000 hero damage, I believe, like 30,000 above the next person. So Cassia can do a lot of work there. We'll see how Uninverted or whoever ends up on this Cassia, maybe some swaps around happen, but see how well they're able to play with that pick.
Members of the red team are going to be needing some sort of race. I honestly say ban Greymane because they already have the Cassia, they already have the Li Ming. They're going to get rid of the Sylvanas as they don't want to deal with her lockdown and push pressure. With the Ana as well, you noted this as a denial against the blue team, so they don't have this nano boosted Li Ming. I still think we're going to see some sort of nano boost, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a priority onto Jaina over, like, out of the three major mages that are left. I kind of lean into her. Orphe is actually not a bad option either for mobility. I just think water elemental, sustain damage, that's kind of where I lean with this, but that's not going to be the choice just yet. Blaze will be grabbed for the solo lane, and Tychus as well. Khroen, I'm a little, I wouldn't say confused, but just this is a little unorthodox in the sense of grabbing your solo lane while you still have that 5th pick so you can see what the enemy team's solo lane will be. Any reasoning you think that they're going to be holding this last pick that is probably damage?
Yeah, I think you're going to be able to, you're going to want to wait to see what damage you really want after seeing the last two picks here. You're going to see the support and the solo lane, which some DPS picks are going to be better into certain support picks there. We see the Lucio come out for Dark Chimera, and actually the Sonya there for Gronmin. I'm not a huge fan of Lucio-Sonya pairing there, honestly, but we'll see how the red team is able to respond here. I actually don't want to see a mage in this spot like a Jaina. I think just on this map, it doesn't really provide too much. If you jump one combo into the Immortal, you don't have any team fight pressure at that point. If you jump it into the team fight and you don't get a kill, then it leaves such a timer open for the blue team to be able to capitalize on it. But it will actually be a Jaina, as you were saying, Baha. And I'm thinking here. I
see you on this. Yeah. Like I can agree because like you need to be cautious of your abilities and your cooldowns, but the big thing for me, I think, was I wasn't considering the Immortal race, and maybe that's why I was leaning so hard into Jaina, because the Garrosh has just so much set up with the Warlord's Challenge. I doubt we see a Ring of Frost, just because Water Elemental will actually give you more race into the Immortal phase, so maybe that's the direction. But sorry, you had a point you were trying to make.
No, definitely. I mean, you gave me time to think about it. Appreciate it. I'm trying to, in my mind, wrap around, because if we look at the race potential of the red team, it's bad. Like, there's just not much to say about it. It's just bad. Like, Tychus, not a good race hero. Jaina, not a good race hero. Sir, if she's able to Q it forever, once you get that cooldown reduction, it's like, okay. I think, though, how the red team will be able to get advantages here is going to be with the pick potential, with getting kills. And if you have Mopsio on that Garrosh, you will be able to find those. So they have to find windows to race the Immortal after they find kills, push the blue team back. So let's get into our first game here of our second series of the day.
On the blue side, we have Unaverted on the Cassia, Dark Chimera playing the Lucio, Gronmin on that Sonya. We have Enigmatic on the Li Ming, and Direk on the ETC.
Over on the red side, we have Ridzuza on the Blaze. We're going to have Rutsu on the Jaina, Mind Talk on the Tychus, LCS player, aka Mopsio, that is Mopsio on the Garrosh, and Hennig on the Ana.
I'm looking at our level ones, and still 100% on this first pick for the Tychus. That pressed the advantage, giving them the 1 range increase that takes them to 5.5. And for anyone who doesn't know what these range numbers mean, if you're just like, Bahamut, what is 5.5? Why? it's comparable to Vala or Zul'jin. That is their baseline actual attack range for both of those heroes. So if you've ever played any of those, you at least kind of have that picture in your mind of what you're increasing Tychus's range to. If I'm not mistaken, I think Cassie has like a 2.5 range. I might be wrong on that. I have to double check, but either way, this is going to be just our kind of setup right now as Cassia will be in the top lane pushing into that Blaze with the Sonya. 3 members on their side still down over here trying to just push this back and maybe making a rotation to the top for more harassment. I'm not sure because this is a bit of a split map at the time.
Yeah, unorthodox laning arrangements here, but it works out for the blue side, at least initially. Oh, bot lane, though. Enigmatic gets caught out there and is actually first blood. Wowie, Mopsio there. Great pick off there with the follow-up on the enemies. I was going to say it's leading at the side of the blue team here because they got a tower in the top lane, but Mopsio making things happen there. They're going to be able to trade siege camps out now at this point, but top lane might see a bit of a scrap over this one.
I'm also watching the minimap. I see ETC rotating up towards that top lane, and this might have been called out, so they're just going to leave that camp. ETC is sitting in the bush, ready for a potential invade, and I'm actually wrong on this. Excuse me. Cassia's base range is 4.5, so it is the exact same as Tychus's base range. I was wrong on that. My mistake.
Yep, Cassia having one of the little bit shorter ranges, but still 4.5, so not too bad there. She did actually pick up charge strikes as well, so not going to be stacking the Q talent as we've seen earlier today. Instead, she gets some more attack speed, and every third basic attack will bounce to nearby heroes and deal a bit of additional damage there. Looking in the bottom lane once again, see Mopsio stepping forward, always trying to make a play happen there, even taking a couple tower shots just for the possibility of finding someone overstepping for just a moment.
Heading on point with all this healing just to make sure that they're topped off consistently. I'm kind of liking this change-up a little bit where Sonya's just like hard pushing into Blaze, who does need to back off consistently, and now they're going to go ahead and grab this camp on the right-hand side for a red team. Same can be said for the blue. Bellefian Alarian will be spawning on the map in the next 20 seconds. Khroen, it's the first objective phase. Do you want to try and jump into some of these comms?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to jump into the comms of the red team, see how Mopsio is going to be finding these engages.
Yeah, they have this push.
Here. I'm clearing the top way.
Look for something here. Yeah, I'm doing.
Sonya's still missing.
I got sleep on him, but I don't think we can. Care, you have
It's so much creeps, like the wave is too big.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
this fast and then go race.
Yeah, we can't race, we have to look for kills.
Yeah.
I'm coming from the left side.
Just do some damage, they're doing damage.
Attack is decent, right?
Oh, got the ETC in the back with the sleep.
Slowing.
Care up there.
Blind.
Looking for a throw.
Sonya's on me.
Yeah, you're fine, just walk out.
ETC, just kill.
Nice. They shrink.
I'm taking too much damage.
Slow.
They have someone racing right now. Yeah.
I don't have slow now.
I'll keep slowing him. Carrots, okay.
Finish the first half and look for a mid wave. Just go mid after. I'm already set.
Look here. Any throw?
I'm saying Cassia.
He's slow. Oh, please. Nice one.
Just finish the race.
Yeah, go race. We defend here.
I defend with Anna. I don't think we need anybody else. Just get away from top.
I can go top, yeah.
But you should be on bot with Blaze.
Care Mopsio. Oh shit.
Go out. Just keep hunting.
I'm slowing them.
Still race. Yeah, full race. Race. Commit.
Full race. Blaze has to go bot already.
That's club?
Yeah, I'm going bottom. Just need to globus.
Khroen, the respect in these comms are so good. I want to know your thoughts here.
One phrase, we can't race, we need to get kills. That is something that I outlined that the red team needs to make happen, and they recognized it as well, and they did make it happen. Their race is bad, but when you get kills, you're offered the opportunity to be able to eventually get it. Like, it was still close. The shield right now, the Immortal is already down. Like, it was, I don't know, 2,000 HP differential there, but Mopsio looking for plays there. Another thing that happened, actually, ETC is nearly falling, but Dark Chimera with some clutch heals at the end there to make sure ET's able to walk away there. This Immortal push will be defended rather well by the blue team there. Doesn't get the fort, doesn't even get the well. Red team is up though, but when Henning actually got engaged upon by Sonya, immediately both DPS stop racing and go to peel. If Anna falls, then they would need to have to back up and probably wouldn't be able to finish the race, but peeling, making sure Henning is okay, means they were able to finish the race with everyone there, and blue team was chasing a little too far there, so it definitely gave them some more time. A little bit engaged there happened.
Yeah, Cassie and friends want to step into this as Dark Chimera's going to push up and jump into Mobsio. They're going to be able to walk away, and that'll be just a groundbreaker back into the bush. There was a little play from Mobsio during that bottom lane push that was actually, I think it was 200 IQs. They threw the ETC out. Excuse me, and ETC is not like the best target to throw because they can just power slide backwards through you. And usually just stun you. It's, oh my god, whatever. But they actually waited till the Immortal had that AoE circle on the ground, which would have bopped ETC back if they tried to power slide through. So it was just a little play like that made such a big difference to hold D-Rec and almost got that kill. Luckily, Lucio was right there, and they also had the well up and available. But our Bel'Veth and Alarian will respawn here, and I want to say a minute or so. It's a very short cooldown from when the Immortal dies in lane to when the race resumes. As I was like, I think I'm actually way too much on this. So we're gonna have that pop up in 25 seconds here. Top lane will have another camp. Do you want to jump into comms, or do you want to just watch this together here and see how it unfolds?
Probably just watch this one, maybe the next
right,
one. I mean, level 10s are on the rise, and I think we're going to see more of the same, at least for now. The teams are going to be treating out their bruiser camps, and it's up to blue team to not let Mopsio get into positions where he can find engages there. If they don't die, blue team will win. So it comes down to all that posturing and then the re-engage potential there. Dark Chimera needs to have some clutch sound barriers, not ever get caught out by a throw taunt there. He's a Lucio, so he's a slippery hero. Will probably be able to do that. Blue team is pushing in right now, finding some race. Gronman, a good flank there, watching out for anybody and clearing out the top lane.
Skimming through the level 10s, and I don't see anything out of the ordinary except for maybe the Valkyrie power slide from D-Rec as they avoid the Warlord's challenge. That's going to be a 50-second cooldown for Mobsio, as this is just a lot of back and forth. While we kind of have this lull, while we have some camps being cleared out, and maybe actually a little bit of race for the blue team, I just want to know, ETC 10 stacks on that proc rock at level 1 is there's going to be a toss on the ground, power slide through, and it seems like Mobsio is still alive. Hello? Moshpit comes out. They don't get the interrupt, but Ana ends up going down. LCS player is going to get chased down, and they end up going down. They end up getting the double kill for our blue team. D-Rec and friends looking to burn through this Immortal phase, but my quick little thing right now, 45 stacks on that Tychus with the In the Rhythm. Jane is still working through that Frostbite level 1 baseline, that 2,000 damage right there out of the 15,000 new habits. Done by the Blaze and Warbreaker, already done by that Garrosh. Khroen, that was not the way I expected that fight to go.
They caught out Mopsio. They didn't allow him to be able to have that aggressive positioning. They punished him for it. A beautiful Valkyrie there, actually, by Unaverted as well to catch out the Ana. It should have only been one kill. Ana stepped forward to try to heal, and boom, the Valkyrie is right there to punish it. Now, we saw the last Immortal was near empty of shields. This blue Immortal is near full of shields because their race is just that much better. We see a little 1v1 in the top lane here, but Sonya, I believe, is going to rotate down after this wave is dealt with, but Odin happens. The clear is going to be rough, though.
Alarian is going to move in through bottom lane. Odin does come down to poke from a distance. Odin typically uses this anti-siege or even siege tool as Mobsio is looking for some massive flank, but they end up taking a lot of damage. That's a Valkyrie pulling them back in, and they go down, giving a reset to Li Ming, but ETC will be traded out. Alarian now is about to move into melee range as they just lost their shielding, heading so very low. Gromman is trying to spin to win. They are having the life funnel talent from level 7, but it doesn't keep them alive against the Jaina burst as Rutsu is stepping into this, but they need to be careful as Alarian still, with almost full health, moving into a keep front gate.
Interesting to see there, both tanks were actually on the flank behind each other's respective team, and they gauge onto each other, and both end up falling there. I think if the sound barrier had come out a split second earlier from Lucio, maybe it would have saved the ETC there. A bit of an aggressive engage there by Gromman, trying to find the Ana. That's usually what you want to do, but there just wasn't any follow-up to make that happen. There wasn't the sound barrier available at that point, and Lucio can't really help Sonya out too much. That's what I was talking about about in the draft. I don't really care for the Lucio-Sonya pairing that much. You need more resources to allow Sonya to do what she did there in that fight. Maybe later on, though, when you have all the members, she'll be able to do that when ETC is sliding in. But it looks like a fort trade here for both sides. Siege camps pushing into the top lane. Blue team will have a bit of a lead here on this push, which will actually force Red to back off and Hearth.
They're going to have the Hearth back here. It's a fort for fort, but this is keep front gate being whittled down in the top lane. And for anyone that doesn't know, the Immortal phase will always prioritize the more well-defended lane. So let's say top lane has its full keep front gate and bottom lane has a little bit of damage on their keep front gate. It'll prioritize the top lane. I don't know off the top of my head which one actually has more health. I think it is going to be the top lane still. So we probably will see that Alarian go into top lane if they're able to grab it on the blue side. That's a Valkyrie pulling Tychus in before they can get the dash away. Mopsio has the friendly toss, the aggressive toss, power slide from ETC. Bunker comes down, couple members jumping in. This is Water Elemental onto Unaverted, who does get slowed, but they don't go down to the nano boosted Jaina, as our Immortal phase will pop up in 10 seconds. Khroen, you want to hear some comms now?
I would love to hear some blue team's comms. Yeah, let's get in there.
I'm looking below. I'm looking below. Yep. For Garrosh, find him.
Looking.
I need heal whenever.
No combo right now.
Are they burning?
Yeah,
They're not burning.
No, they're not. They're not. They're on their hard. They're on hard.
Okay.
I have everything.
Wait, we want to be near top side to clear. Yep. Start king top vision.
Yep, I am.
Yep. Watch this bush. Care, we don't see them.
I'll queue it.
We do whatever burn. Either burn or defend. We're just doing it on top side.
Correct.
Oh. I think we're looking at this.
They don't have anything. We should fight, right? Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's alright. I mean,
Speed.
Alright, we're good.
It's okay.
Do we want our hearts? Can we get our hearts? We're waiting.
They're gonna be there. It's dangerous.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, I don't think we can do anything.
Careful here.
A lot of chaos right there. Khroen, I was unsure. What were they talking about with the whole top lane? Were they prioritizing the wave clear and then they got caught in this fight? What happened?
Yeah, I think it's good to utilize those windows, like when an Immortal is in its, I guess, rotational phase between the first and second phases to get priority wave clear. The thing is that, like, they saw Garrosh there, they just didn't really deal with him well enough. Mopsio was able to get that throw taunt off, and ETC went and tried to peel, but then that's a split second where the taunt happened, so some unfortunate timing there, as, you know, we see Mopsio kind of continue his control over the game there. Even he's waiting these aggressive bushes, waiting for rotations to happen, spots them out there. We see 16s achieved for the red team. Immortal pushes in here, waiting to see if some action will happen, or if I can talk about those comms some more, because I actually like the communication from both teams there. Immediately once we hopped in the comms, we heard Dark Chimera call out for, like, find Garrosh, like find where he is, and that is the goal, because you need to be able to shut down the Garrosh. Though they eventually found him, it's just that finding him wasn't enough. They need to be able to find him and deal with him. It's a kind of a two-part step there, and they only did step one.
I'm just surprised. Like, it went so south so quickly, unfortunately for them. Like, it's just that fight just turned immediately, and I think you nailed that correctly. Just Mopsio's got so much control in this game right now for that red team. But they get the fort in the top lane. The map is even between both sides. It's going to be keeps up, and that'll be consistent catapult pressure, periodic catapult pressure for both sides and both lanes. So those will kind of match out, be even. Realistically right now, it's just looking for some sort of extra pressure in lanes, just grabbing camps. Our blue side is, I wouldn't say turtling up, but they're more or less just anchoring and making sure that they can clear these waves without being harassed. As I'm watching minimap and Garrosh is sitting up in the bush, Mopsio, or not even the bush, just in the fog of war, because they should be able to see over to that wall, and maybe they can find a dive into this bottom lane. A couple members are showing, and they start to back off a little cautious on the blue side.
That's a really good point. Like, saying that actually Mopsio is like in a bush. Like, it's not a bush, but it effectively is, because he's in the fog of war. Mopsio knows all those little spots to be able to hide to where he can catch someone rotating around a corner. Even if you see him when, you know, you approach that corner, it's oftentimes too late. He knows those angles to hold. He's going to look very aggressively there, trying to find a groundbreaker, and walking in again. Red team did pop Odin. A little bit aggressive there, not going to have it for the team fight, but I guess you don't really need it for the team fight, honestly. I don't mind seeing it used for Siege here.
I like it as a siege tool, anti-siege tool. It's a very versatile heroic. You can even use it in a team fight. Like, I think it's something for every occasion. Birthdays, just
I agree.
fights. New Year's Eve parties, absolutely. But right now they're going to find Sonya in top lane, toss her away. Gladiator's Medallion used, Valkyrie to pull one in from the back lane. Henning going to be the target out of that one. Sound Barrier used by the Lucios. There's a Warlord challenge out from Mobsio. LCS player trying to live right there, but they end up going down. That's going to be a double kill for our blue team as they chase in further through this top lane. Looking at Rutso as they get just pushed around and harassed as the Immortal phase has spawned. Cassia already going for the race.
This game is so back and forth. I love it. And these fights are living or dying on the hand of either tank player. D-Rec and Mopsio controlling the flow of engages, making sure that their team is going to be one step ahead. But it's a battle of tug of war right now, really. It's so back and forth right now. Both teams seemingly evenly matched. But right now, blue is in the lead. They will get this full HP Immortal, pushing down, I believe it's going to go into the bottom lane. Yes, it's slightly more healthy. They might, okay, I was going to say they might look for a Merc camp here, but it's a little bit aggressive. They're just going to make sure that they have top lane pushing in. Like, look at this wave at top. If red team doesn't deal with it, that will start to pressure keep. But yeah, we'll go. The Immortal will go into the bottom lane. D-Rec is scouting out Mopsio there. Good call. You need to be able to figure out where he is. And yeah, Blaze is going to have to respond to this top lane. So blue will get the advantage. D-Rec, aggressive positioning here.
Dark Chimera already up forward with ETC. D-Rec is just scouting ahead. I'm just skimming through talents because the way they're postured, I'm like, they don't have crowd surfer. No, ETC didn't go into that. I was like, are they going to crowd surf over that wall or something like that? I have no idea, but right now we are going to be seeing bottom lane siege coming in favor for the members of our blue side. Alarian looking to push down this bottom lane and potentially take game number 1 for our blue team. Khroen, is it possible for them to get this here?
It definitely is. Mobsio, the walking forward, taunting ETC as this engage happens. Actually, Valkyrie onto Jaina. They trade kills there. Lucio for Jaina. Tychus falls as well. Mobsio falling quickly after. Enigmatic popping off on Li Ming here, but they march towards the core. There's only a Blaze and an Ana alive. There's no more DPS alive to deal with this Immortal. Looks like blue team will take our first game here.
This is easily game number 1 over to the side of our blue team. GG, well played. A wonderful back and forth, Khroen. This was so very well played from both sides.
It was definitely. It was that tug of war, the back and forth, each team showing moments of greatness. This is one of the closest, I think, matchups when it comes to just like raw skill of both teams that we have seen for a while in the exhibition matches. Maybe I'm too quick to say that though. I think there was a little bit of a draft difference. Going back to the red team's draft, their race wasn't there. They only had one win condition of finding kills, and then they could race the Immortal. But it just like, I don't know. It was just so well played though by the members of the blue team.
I agree. I had so much fun with this one, and it is such a great back and forth. There was just tons of good moments where literally there's so many turnaround moments, and that's what I like in these games is that you have these opportunities to really just counter the team and find a window to win this out. But overall, blue team played this so well. I'm actually looking at some of the stats. ETC with like 8k heroic damage. I'm really surprised by that. And Ana with like 7k. So I feel like I've just never seen damage numbers that low. Obviously, it's the healer and the main tank. But all of that aside, Khroen, this was a great game number 1 for Battlefield of Eternity. If you're the losing side of the red team, that really didn't go too bad. Do you choose map or first pick?
I mean, generally, I think I'll bring up the point that I did a couple of weeks ago. If you're a team that hasn't really practiced together, you don't have specific map strategies lined up, so you're probably just going to go for the first pick, get the advantage in the draft that way. All the teams are going to be, fairly experienced on every map. Sometimes you might have a team lean towards one map because they know they have like a Medivh or a Vikings or a Samuro player or something of the sort here. But I think it will go probably towards that first pick for our red team here.
Okay, so if I'm on the blue side, I just won the game. We went to Battlefield, and I think this was the map choice of the red team, if I'm not mistaken. So blue side, I know Sky Temple was taken away, Garden of Terror, fortunately, as well. So like, I think we have things like Volskaya, Foundry up and available. Braxis hold out? I'm honestly blanking. I'm trying to remember all the maps off the top of my head, and it's not popping up. But either way, we have a wonderful, wonderful 2 more maps for everyone at home, and we'll figure out what that will be in just a second here. Going into this next game, though, I want to see it because someone tweeted at me. They said, hey, you know, I have a practiced main tank Valeera. Like, showcase your main tank Valeera. For mostly just me. I want to see something a little bit non-traditional, non-standard. But I guess we are getting that a little bit. A lot more Tychus as of lately. A lot more Cassia this weekend. So we are getting some unstandard picks, if you will, or non-standard picks. But I want to see those Murkies. I want to see the Asmodeans, the Samuros. I want to actually see if Samuro, if the changes that came in, the nerfs, if they were actually enough of a nerf to balance him in a sense, or is he still just too hard to play against if you don't understand the player? Like, I know that's kind of a cop out, but like there are some players, like if you just don't understand Samuro and how he works, you can't literally beat him.
Yeah, I think that definitely is still the case. Samuro is, you know, regardless of nerf, it's going to be a hero that if you're proficient on it and you don't know how to, another team doesn't know how to deal with it, you're going to run over the game there. That's just kind of what happens. Samuro is that, you know, non-standard pick. And I think I would, you know, hear you classify picks as like, you know, meta or like, you know, standard or non-standard. And then you talk about heroes like Murky. Like, I think Murky fills a role that, you know, deviates even from the non-standard sort of alignment there. I think
it's just pure chaos.
It is. That's actually I was searching for a word and you came with a beautiful one there. There's meta picks, non-meta picks, and chaos picks. And Murky, Cho'Gall, those are chaos picks. So, okay, Cho'Gall actually does fill, I think, a little bit into just it can be meta in certain scenarios, but either way, it is also a chaos pick. We want to see chaos picks. I think that also is Valeera main take. If we see that is going to as well be a chaos pick. If we're talking about exhibition matches and showing what players really have to really just have to show for their arsenal, is it going to be a main tank Valeera? That's really risky. If it works out, it makes a statement. If it doesn't work out, it's kind of like question mark. Like, it's that variant like spray there. It's just a bunch of question marks around, honestly. But hey, if it works out, more power to you.
Well, let's go ahead and find out where we're going to for map number 2 in let's find out what happened, where we're going to for map number 2 right now. Because I want to see, like, there's a potential for maybe a Cho'Gall or anything like that, but we are going to be heading into Volskaya Foundry for our game number 2 and our second 3-game series of the day. We just saw Battlefield of Eternity won by the members of our blue team. So this is going to be red team opting for first pick priority, making the map pick from our blue side. Khroen, you know what I'm going to say here. This is a map for. I mean, every map's a Cho'Gall map, but
I already do.
But let's actually let's look at Volskaya Foundry. This is a map where you have control points where it's going to be 5v5. It's and you're fighting over the point. You're not fighting for skeletal defenders like Infernal Shrines. You're not fighting over altars like on Towers of Doom. This is stand on the point as a team and just win this out, so that way we can grab ourselves a Triglav Protector. Let's talk about some of these non-standard picks or whatever. Like, do you think, like, and even here, like, Mephisto's a little bit like this, like non-standard. Like, this is a great map, in my opinion, for him. Do you think we could see things like that, or is this just going to be more of our traditional, you know, ETC, Joanna, Greymane, Li Ming, Jane? Like, is it just going to be the standards as we get into our Volskaya Foundry draft?
You sound so like not enthused, even just naming those picks there. You're like, yeah, more of the same. I want to see these chaos picks. Bring them out. These are exhibition matches. And unfortunately for you, Baha, I do think that you're right. I think that we will see more of the same of those tried and true meta picks. Although if we're going to entertain the idea of non-meta picks here, I think Mephisto is a good one for this map. I think that actually Zul'jin is one that could pop up. I think that fighting over these control points, you're going to be able to get a lot of those auto attacks in, you know, stack up that extra damage over the course of the game. And actually an Anduin first
Valeera
band.
calling it. That's it. It's Valeera, because you need the leap of faith to save them from the Valeera, because it's an 80-second cooldown and Valeera has an 80. No, it is a weird one, because we have not seen a literal first ban Anduin. And I don't think we saw like anything crazy from Dark Chimera that showcases a reason for them to ban it. But once again, that's going to be a Zarya being banned out. That might be a target onto Henning or someone else on the opposing side, but they do not want to deal with a potential hyper carry with the Zarya shielding. And I'll be honest, it's difficult to deal with in some cases. We did see it yesterday. Zlurd actually on this map played a Zarya, and they had an amazing hyper carry game. It's a great example, and shout out to Zlurd on their Zarya. They literally came in there like, I just want to play one Zarya game, and I just wanted to help the rest of my team win. I was like, God, you're such a sweet human being. I was watching back that interview, and they're so nice. Yeah. But last pick though from our left hand side, maybe you know what? Maybe you respect Mopsio's Garrosh here. No!
That's too funny, actually. Oh no, Baha, I feel for you in this moment. But what that does mean, though, is that there's not going to be a Chromie ban. Yes. Red team identifying that, snap blocking that Chromie, a huge DPS pick, and it is... Okay, Chromie, a good hero on any map, but especially Volskaya Foundry. If you put a slowing sands in the entrance to a control point, that is so much zone control there that enemy team will not be able to utilize any of that to push through. The response is going to be D.Va and Ana. Solid meta picks though. Again, I'm not seeing too much deviation from that as of now. What are we going to see from the red team here? I imagine it would be, if they want to match the D.Va with Yrel, they don't want Yrel to get it banned, it would probably be the pickup right there, but then whatever priority tank they want, and it's going to be actually a Diablo from Mopsio, one of his scariest heroes, I would say, and the Rutsu on the Maiev, they're going in with it.
I love the denial pick on the Ana, just to be able to say you don't have a nano boosted Chromie. I agree with you 100% on this Diablo as well. There's so much setup, and then you have Maiev with Warden's Cage, so Apocalypse, Warden's Cage, everything being thrown from the heavens in Chromie's hands into these single targets are amazing. So I'm loving our red team draft already, and they are gonna say, all right, cool, we see what you're building here, no Stukov, because let's say all the things I just said, and then you throw a lurking arm underneath that. No, that's a bad time right there. Also, massive shove will be able to disengage the D.Va mecha explosion if they go into single target disengage with that. Even flailing swipe can still force back the mecha explosion from D.Va. So that's a strong ban overall from our blue team. As on the red side, they're actually going to get rid of the Imperious. They don't want to deal with the Stabby Daddy coming in through the backline and setting up D.Va or anyone else for a single target pick burst. I love the ban so far as we get into the second half of our phase here. Khroen.
I was staring at that ban for so long, and I was hoping for the red team's sake that it was going to be a Li Ming, and here's why. I think that nano boosted Li Ming is going to be the best pickup for the blue team. They can still do it in the last pick there, but if you take any other nano boost target that is a mage at least, and let's name Jaina, Kel'Thas, and Gul'dan.
Sure.
All of those heroes have no mobility. How you get punished by that is Diablo and Maiev. When they dive on you, especially Maiev going with the Warden's Cage, if they're able to find an Ana Jaina or Ana Kel'Thas, whatever, that's gonna be lights out for all of those members. Li Ming, though, will be able to blink out of a Warden's Cage if that does come through, and we will see Malfurion and a Deathwing to round out the red team draft here. Wasn't expecting a Deathwing, but we get one nonetheless. And we'll see what the last DPS pickup for the blue team here is.
There's really not a lot to deal with the Deathwing. I really like this. They kind of drafted this sneaky giant dragon into the entire thing. Now, you are saying, I agree with you, mobility, targets for nano boost. I'm 100% with you. Li Ming should be the pickup here. It would synergize their composition. I think it's a great pickup. I do want to note, though, nano boosted Imperious is a bad time. Like, it is not fun to deal with a nano boosted Imperious. So I see both realms of this, but Tassadar is also something we didn't really talk about when it comes to mages who are nano boost targets. Archon form plus nano boost. That's a lot of initial burst damage coming out from that shock ray, from the auto attacks, from the Psy Storm. So this is still a good pickup. I do agree with you though. I like the Li Ming here a little bit more. You have Wave of Force to maybe force back the Diablo. You can push back Maiev. There's a little bit more control, I think, with that Li Ming potential pickup, especially at level 10 with the Wave of Force. But right now we have our draft unfolded, and I'm liking both these sides. Khroen, any closing thoughts for this draft before we load into Volskaya Foundry?
We know that red team does like to play aggressive and find kills. That was their only win condition in the last game. That is going to definitely be a winning condition here between the Diablo and the Maiev picks. If they're able to find backline access there, that will be dangerous. Now they have one of the best DPS picks in the game. Chromie was not banned and picked up, so being able to follow up on that with all the sand that Chromie is throwing in there is going to be so dominant.
Well, let's find out what happens here on Volskaya Foundry, game number 2 of our final 3-game series of the day. On the left, we have Ana, played by Dark Chimera, Enigmatic on that Tassadar, Direk on the Joanna, Unaverted on the Sylvanas, and Grommen on the Diva.
Over on the red side, we have Henning on the Malfurion, Ridzusa on the Deathwing, LCS player, aka Mopsio on the Diablo, Mindhawk on the Chromie, and Rutsuo on the Maiev.
We move into mid lane. We can look at our level. Level 1 for Maiev, Pursuit of Vengeance. It's so during Tespa Collegiate Series, at least in the fall and a little bit in the spring, there was a shift away from Bonds of Justice always being picked up to this Pursuit of Vengeance dive build with the Spirit of Vengeance. And there's talents like Sudden Vengeance, which actually do percent-based damage when you blink in with the Spirit of Vengeance. So this is a Maiev that's going to be hella aggressive as they immediately try and get some damage onto Dark Chimera. There's a Sleep Dart to turn things around, some healing darts to go into them as well, as they're actually going to be aiming at Unaverted, but there's a giant dragon. Wait, no, Retzo's going to dive in once again, but they don't find a number of bind. They're going to lunge in with the Deathwing with that onslaught, and this is so much harassment onto Enigmatic. Unaverted, though, half health is not really being targeted as the Force Wall from Tassadar is turning things around. Mopsio getting very low. A medallion used, I think, and they're able to disengage, but that was terrifying, Khroen.
That was a lot of action already happening in the first minute of our Volskaya Foundry game. A beautiful back and forth there, actually, by both teams. Dark Chimera getting engaged on by Maiev, but Enigmatic with the Force Wall to dissuade any of the Malfurion follow-up there, forcing Malfurion to have to path around that. Dark Chimera recognizing, all right, I'm safe. We can turn the Sleep Dart onto 2 there. Some great aggression by both sides there to start things off.
We have our fortification camps on the left and the right-hand side both being raced out, but it will be the members of our blue team grabbing it first. Something we didn't note here in the draft whatsoever is going to be the Sylvanas with the Mercenary Queen at level 4. That is something that does affect the actual fortification camps or those turrets, and that'll increase the damage by 60%. So big pickup for them if they go into that. It's not a mandatory. They do go into that. I was going to say the other thing that you can sometimes go into that I see is the alternate is going to be Possession. As Unaverted gets dove on, but they're able to get a short distance haunting wave away, and they're able to just disengage, not die, and it's still 0-0 on our map number 2 on Volskaya Foundry.
I can already see the pacing of how this game is going to go here, but actually aggressively Mopsio charges into that healing camp there, that support camp. We're seeing a 4v4.
No one's oh wait, hold on, I was gonna say no one's stepping in, but they do blink in with the Maiev. The point is gonna be held over by the Diva. It's gonna be contested as they force them back. Control point A is open and available. Onslaught forward from the Deathwing as they do grab the biotic emitter on this Diva, and they're trying to get the mech form down, but they don't manage to do so. And this is a back and forth. Still, no one going down, everyone getting a little bit low, having to hearth out. Deathwing, I want to note this for anyone in chat who doesn't know. Deathwing can only be healed 2 ways on this map currently. 3 ways, excuse me. Regeneration globes, the well, or when they take flight into the sky. Their Nexus provides no healing. It only provides protection from anyone trying to dive onto them. So technically there is a 4th way to heal Deathwing. Fun fact, actually, Khroen, and I learned this from, I believe, not Paradox, Alexstrasza. Alexstrasza can technically heal Deathwing with her level 1 questing talent, where she can spawn a regeneration globe with her abundance circle. So technically,
that's
if you're splitting hairs, Alexstrasza is the only one who can actually heal Deathwing because of her regeneration globe talent at 1. But right now, control point A is over to the side of our red team. It seems like they're holding it fairly well.
Yes, they are. The Chromie zone control. We don't even have Slowing Sands on the line quite yet. We will in a couple of levels there, though. Unaverted on the Sylvanas in the top lane. Not going to be able to have too much pushing power alone. And if blue team, okay, they are pushing into this control point here. Grommen has the mech explosion available, has the support cap available as well, with the engage from Rutsuo.
They're gonna watch a Vault of the Warden just to avoid some damage, as the Iron Skin will be used by the Joanna. Retzo gonna pull in with the Umbra Bind, but I don't think it actually connected. There's gonna be a Shadow Charge onto Grommen, who does lose their mech form. No mech explosion. They still have that biotic emitter as Direk eats a face full of sand from Mindhawk as they're just dumping in these sand blasts. And they went into Time Walker's Pursuit at level 1, as that's gonna be Mopsio going down. 76 souls on the Diablo, so no insta revive for them, but control point A will be charged up for our blue team for now, but they have a long way to go. So they're going to grab themselves a fortification camp, add some extra items into their repertoire, and get ready for another fight over this point as we actually have our red team grabbing the the siege camp on the top right of the minimap.
That was so confusing for me to watch, actually. Of course, it's only a 1-game sample size, but hearing the comms of the red team in the last game, they seemed really on point there, but there was a huge disconnect there between Mopsio and the rest of the team. He's going to re-engage here, and the team is behind him this time. We'll get back into that later on, as Mech Explosion will come out here, actually. Mopsio may be caught again.
They tried to shadow charge and blow it up, and they managed to get away. D-Rec is going to get hit with the temporal loop. They're going to get bursted down. Hello! Where was the medallion? Where was the iron skin? As the Cataclysm comes out from our Deathwing, as they're going to use the Onslaught as well to get the Incinerate to get that massive AoE as there's burning on the ground. Biotic Emitter to be used. This is 99% for the blue team and 95 for our red as they back off, but they need to stay on the point as LCS player Mopsio's back in. So souls are finished out. Deathwing did take flight. Mopsio needs to back off. They don't want to lose their souls after immediately grabbing them. Seems like there's a bit of a lull, but they're going to pull in Sylvanas, who gets the Haunting Wave away.
Dark Command really far forward here, wanting to make sure to keep that control point contested, and it will. Johanna now has had time to respawn and re-enter the fray here. Red team, they're going to look for something again with Rutsuo.
They've tried the Umbral Bind, but it didn't work out. That's a D.Va just bursting forward with that boost, and they're so very low on this Diablo, who does go down. That Souls to be reset. There's going to be the big shot. Tassadar, do you have enough damage? Joanna actually, no, D.Va finding that last little bit of damage right there. Enigmatic will get hit with the Temporal Loop, but they pop the Medallion at the last second. Avoid the actual loop itself. The Sandblast was actually early there, but Khroen, we now see first objective over to our blue side as they move in through our mid lane, probably into top.
Yep, they try to get a little bit of that mid lane wall. They don't finish it though. They're opting to say there's too many heroes there. Let's move into the top lane, get that well down so we can have a better second control point phase. They're DPSing it. They're gonna take it out here. There's enough HP on this Tree Glob to make that happen. There we go. Well, it gets taken down, which is actually good. We saw at least in week number 1, some teams get the first protector and they don't manage to get that well.
I don't I still remember that game. They put a D.Va inside the mech, no one else, and then literally just counter rotated any lane. Like they just the entire team was like, we're gonna go as 4 to this lane. D.Va just go do whatever with the mech, and that's kind of what happened. But they're trying to open top lane up a little bit further. Sylvanas does have those black arrows to lock down the tower. They're gonna be able to burn this down with the mech that only has 3%, 1% on its health. Rutso gets a Fan of Knives out. They think they have the reset onto that. There's the Vengeance forward, excuse me. They blink forward with that Spirit of Vengeance. They're gonna try and turn this around. Archon form used by the Tassadar. Temporal Loop is gonna be onto them as well. Deathwing will use the Bellowing Roar to force back the enemy team as the Lightning Breath is being slowly rotated. The Tassadar will go down. Containment Disc sent out by Maiev, but it does not connect. Surprise right there, Khroen. We're not seeing Warden's Cage. It's going to be single target Containment Disc.
We saw that a couple weeks ago. The Containment Disc versus the D.Va Mech Explosion, I think, is a great tool to utilize. Not only does it allow time for your team to run to safety and not get caught in the Mech Explosion, but also gives you time to kill D.Va when she's stuck in that baby D.Va form and not in that mech, which she will get after the explosion does happen, though. But red team does get a kill there. The Tassadar Archon flank was a little bit too ambitious, which allows the red team to get a support camp and get their fortification camp as well, catch up on a bit of XP. They're getting the siege camp even here as well. Rutsuo has been looking for a lot of engages. It was really, really good from the blue team there to shut down the Rutsuo engage, because if she goes for that bind, that W to pull heroes in, actually she's maybe getting caught here, has that D, has the E away, and still ends up falling there to the shield glare from Johanna. But again, as I was saying, if Johanna blinds Maiev as she comes in, the W will not land. And there was the W, there was the blind from Johanna, the Sylvanas arrow, and then a Bless Shield coming out in that initial engage, which does shut down Maiev pretty hard here. We're going to have to see Rutsuo respect that a lot and respect the rotations happen, as there is 2 Maiev deaths right now, which could be more if, again, that respect is not there.
Mopsio taking a bit of a nap as they're going to get woken up by a shock ray from Enigmatic. For anyone that's wondering, the Tassadar static charge at level 1 is at 130 out of the 200 stacks. The Subdue from the Johanna has not been finished out, but still, we all know and love that value you still get regardless of that being finished out. Souls for the Diablo are at 83 currently, but those will rapidly rise as they do have that Fire Stomp talent at level 1. Souls to the Flame as there's a Cataclysm coming in from the Deathwing into the backline. They use the Bellowing Roar to force them towards their fort, but it's Not gonna happen, and that's essentially 2 heroics from Deathwing and Lightning Breath from Diablo. That's 3 heroics, in a sense, that are just wasted for nothing.
So these heroics actually on the side of the red team, they have Bellowing Roar, they have Containment Disc, they have Lightning Breath, but nothing to lock them down besides the Maiev pull, but the Maiev pull does get countered again. We see it engage happen here though. Malfurion gets silenced and goes down. Mind Talk down the Chromie, the wall barely doesn't connect, but Mopsio still is in trouble. Does Shadow Charge to safety though.
They do also have their souls finished out with the kill onto Malfurion. They're going to nano boost their Sylvanas, who's going to wanting wave into this Diablo, who drops the biotic emitter, and they're able to back off. While they do burn the nano boost, they're able to get the fort, and they're able to force out the biotic emitter as well, which is a big win for our blue team. And I'm just curious on the map right now. It's 18 seconds on the next biotic emitter, and we have our control point B opening up. Do you want to try and jump into some comms from this as everyone's back up and available?
Definitely. Let's jump into the comms of the red team here. They are behind. Let's see how they make it happen.
16.
I can land.
Have loot.
Let's fuck Jana up a bit. She has no D now. They used wall.
Device bottom.
Take this camp, force this camp, please. I will walk in. I will walk in if they come. They should not get 16 before.
Diva is coming now for sure.
Diva has explosion.
Turret.
Yeah,
okay, we got it. Root to take it.
Yeah, let's walk on tower camp again. Walk on tower camp now. Let's go tower camp. Like we kite it.
Just carry so they don't overcommit on you.
Oh, okay, they did it.
Do this first, then
Just
quick.
push the
We
wave.
just get 16.
Like Jana is on top.
I'm going bottom.
Alright. Kara, I'm walking up.
My set.
Further than Q on you. It's alright,
I
alright.
can land in 8.
Yeah. Look, Sylvanas down on the wave, maybe. It's a bit far up. Diva is coming now. I need help.
Stunning on me.
We're all zoned.
I'm hitting.
I'm getting melted.
I mean, we're standing around too much right now. We need to be the ones engaging. Because if they are the ones engaging, like, they just run us over.
Bro, and some interesting things we heard right there. I want to point out, I saw Mopsio literally walk into the point and say nothing, and then the fight broke out, and it was just like, okay, now we're doing this. Like, thoughts on all of that?
That speaks of a little bit of tilt, I think, perhaps, but we do see the engage. We see him trying to make something happen. Ultimates are used, but nothing for it. The Protector has now been grabbed by the blue team. Dark Chimera, low HP, is probably going to run back and get in this Protector. I would imagine Anna being one of the least safe heroes here. Trying to heal up her team before getting in that. Yeah, okay, does get in that. They're going to be looking to push a keep here, Baha.
This is, I wouldn't say non-standard by any means, but like going for a top lane keep with the enemy team this healthy is very, very rare. Yeah. Usually you find a kill or two and then you can rush this because you're able to then have that consistent catapult pressure. They're going to swap the Diva for the Tassadar, and it seems like they're actually forcing this back on the red side very well. Mopsio looking for another Fire Stomp, and a Shadow Charge goes in. Diva's going to bop them around as well. Maiev jumps in, and that's going to be the Diablo going down. They lose their Maiev, and they're going to lose their Biotic Emitter, and now with this, they should easily rotate their top lane and find that keep because consistent catapult pressure is massive, but Khroen, no, I don't, there's no way they can end with this, right? Like, it's the death timers are too low, they don't have enough damage, it's...
The death timers, as of right now, are too low. If they find any more kills, perhaps they could, but Bless Shield, one of their engaged tools is down. They will be satisfied with taking this keep, backing up, only 5 more seconds left on Protector. They will just exit and mount up and run away, but the blue team actually just controlling this whole game, forcing red team into scenarios where Mopsio feels as though he has to make those hero engages to work, like to make something work. But if you're diving in there, you are half HP already, the blue team just turns and kills you. Maiev saying, oh, okay, I have to try to follow up to on this to get some kills, make something happen, but weren't there in time, and when they are there, they just fall and not even use that support camp. So that's worrying for the red team here. I was talking about earlier, alluding to it felt like a little bit of tilt there. They're like, all right, guys, we're standing around. We're not making anything happen. So they recognize they have to make something happen. It's just not in scenarios that actually work out. Blue team on the horizon is level 20. They're going to achieve that, be able to take this next control point, and they should be able to keep control of the game.
It's their momentum to give away at this point, and they're going to actually see with the Oracle from level 13 from the Tassadar that Diablo's hanging around here. Going to go ahead, and that's a great force wall, but where's the damage to find the kill? Unfortunately, there's a root that's going to zone them back, but the Blessed Shield comes out. They're going to still chase into this. That's going to be a massive condemn. They find the Diablo kill, slows onto so many members from the Subdue. There's going to be a Vault of the Warden. There's also going to be a fortification camp onto the ground. Vada Commander to keep the friendly members alive. There's a Horrify from the Deathwing to force them back with that Bellowing Roar. Henning just being chased by Grumman, who just boost into them, and they don't get through the gate. They're being harassed by this D.Va, while the Shock Ray and the Siege continues to happen through this mid lane, but I think they more or less want to get the camp. Temporo loop onto Joanna, but I think Iron Skin's used. There's also the 20 talent here that gave them another one, and Grumman will lose their mecha form, but D.Va throws the big shot out and finds the counter kill into the Chromie.
They're now posturing in the top lane as if they want to end the game. Sylvanas with that mercenary queen. There's the siege camp. There's 2 catapults. There's 3 members dead. The core shielding is already down. Forget about the shielding. The core is just melting. I think that will be game number 2, and it is over to our blue team. GG.
I'll be honest here, Khroen. We didn't get a chance to jump in those blue comms, but I'm sure they are absolutely popping off. We got to jump in a little bit during game number 1, and it wasn't chaos, but it was just a lot of information being said all at the same time. And I feel like that's exactly what we would have heard if we jumped in those comms in that game. And I'm sorry about that for not getting everyone in there, but it was honestly, we were just so engrossed in what was happening in this game that we couldn't even think about that. But just to note, 71,000 from that Sylvanas. Chromie was 65,000 rounding up. This is such great back and forth. Closing thoughts on this game number 2 on Volskaya Foundry, Khroen.
I'm not sure how much I want to highlight the fact that it seemed like desperation trying to happen from the red team. In game number 1, they played well. Their draft just wasn't great. Their draft was fine here in game number 2. They just weren't being as proactive. Like the comms difference between games 1 and 2 there for the red team was actually just night and day. They was actively looking for stuff, some good communication happening in game 1, but just felt like frustration a little bit there in game number 2. Of course, you have to identify where improvements need to be made. So, it's all coming out of wanting to win, wanting to show your stuff, wanting to prove why you're a good player. So I can understand that definitely, but they need to change up something a little bit more as we go into, or not right now, but as after the break, we'll get into game number 3.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to let these players figure out a new strategy for game number 3, our final game of the CCL exhibition matches. Don't go anywhere. We have more Heroes CCL presented by Roll20 coming back at you.
Roll20 lets you build maps, drag and drop tokens, and other features that your kitchen table just can't do.
My table can't do any of those things.
No.
Also, Roll20's video and voice feature let you connect with more people. So if you wanted to invite Lucas and Ariel...
Hey guys.
Hello. What's going on?
That's no problem at all.
Ready to play?
Your friends, your games, your table, Roll20.
After a long day of work, nothing refreshes me more than a cold beer and a hot shower. That's why I use Duke Cannon's big ass beer soap. This big ass brick of soap is actually made with old Milwaukee beer. But guess what? It don't stink. It actually smells pretty damn good, like cedar, sandalwood, and other pleasant things that I don't even know about.
Welcome back to Heroes CCL, presented by Roll20. My name's Bahamut, joined by Khroen, and we are here, our last map of the day, of the exhibition, matches in general. Khroen, we've had so many good maps, so many good heroes. Are you excited for our final game of the exhibition series?
It is the final game of the exhibition series. There have been 3 weeks where players have come in here and shown a lot of great stuff. We've had some phenomenal games. The highlight for me so far has been that Towers of Doom game back in week number 1. I was like, I'm hoping that we'll get a game that tops that, but it's just so hard to do that. Maybe once we see our map, though, will we know if we can? I don't know, Baha. What map is it going to be?
Well, we can go ahead and take a look at the maps that have progressed today for the second 3-game series. We had a Battlefield of Eternity. We just went to Volskaya Foundry, and it looks like our red team, the losing team, is going to be opting for first pick priority. That gives blue team the map pick priority, and that will be Infernal Shrines chosen by that blue team. And Khroen, I love this map. I mean, we talk about it being in the top 3, and while it's not a Towers of Doom end, it is still a great map to end our entire series on, and it still is going to provide us a lot of team fighting, a lot of rotations, a lot of micro and macro decisions that need to be made in this draft and in game. I always ask you about priorities, and I'm sure you're going to say Junkrat and Garrosh here, but realistically, with what we've seen so far, with Maiev mobility, with Chromie dumping out the sand, with Abathur in our previous series, do you think we get any of that spice in this game number 3, or do you think these players are just going to showcase what they're strongest with?
It's game number 3. Blue team is already up 2-0. I think generally that's when we see players become a little bit more loose, be willing to play, some less standard stuff. That does bring me back to week number 1. That Zagara, yes. I don't know if we'll see that on this map, but other picks though, no, it won't be a broken record. We'll just say, Junkrat, blah blah blah. Sonya though, one that is good on the shrines. I think we saw it earlier today. It, I believe, didn't really. Oh, did that? I don't actually remember if it won or not.
That was John Knights, and yes, it did. I believe
it did.
Because I think.
Oh yes.
Yeah, because spoilers. But anyways, that John Knight's solo lane prowess is to be known in the community, and they definitely showcased it there. Not to take away from Nathan Otto that game. Come on,
Blue team.
I don't. Just...
Blue team,
I don't want to be here.
They say no fun for you. The Mopsio Cho'Gall is to be feared, and they ban out the Cho part because of that. Diva, though, first pick there by the red team. The bans are still consistent. They are still Zarya from the blue team. Yrel being banned from the red side, as well as Chromie. Not leaving that up. Chromie lost that last game. Chromie is a pick that is banned nearly every game, only left up in certain few scenarios, and when it's left up, it loses. That's unfortunate, to say the least there, given how much of a priority it is there, but now the response is going to be Diablo Stukov. Those are some aggressive picks there from the blue team.
A lot of dive coming out from them, so I think they're going to play this a little bit more defensively for our red team, but right now both teams, actually, their wave clear is lacking and making me wish for something more. But right now, our red team also does need a healer, so I would expect a high priority onto some sort of support ban. They don't plan to take the Ana themselves, so they could look to ban it out here. Henning is not a bad Ana whatsoever, so I agree with this 100%. Because I was like, well, what's pairing with this composition? I could meme here and say, let's go Bloodlust Rhaegar, but we're not going to get it. We're not going to. Obviously, the Stukov was already picked up, but there's a Junkrat ban just to. I actually agree with this. Like, it can have anti-synergy with the Diablo and the Stukov, but it also can have synergy with the Steel Trap. So Concussion Mine could be more or less a control tool against the ETC Diva Steppen. I like that right there. What are we going to get for these next 2 picks for our blue team? Something solo damage-wise?
Definitely something damage-wise, and it's going to be a Hanzo and a Sonya pick that is so strong on that shrine point. Spinning on all of those skeletal defenders is something that Sonya excels at. I'm actually surprised that Junkrat made it to the second ban phase and wasn't picked during our first 5 picks there. But teams, they're not prioritizing it that heavily, but the recognition of the red team that says, okay, that pick is still up, blue team needs 2 DPS picks, so let's take that one away.
Give me something spicy.
Sonya, and now no, it's more standard. Malfurion, Sylvanas. Even though it's like game number 3, the red team has something to prove right now. It was tug of war. It was neck and neck. Game number 1. Game number 2 was a little bit of maybe just frustrations until okay, Lunara, enigmatic on Lunara.
Yeah, that's why I'm gasping. Like, that's enigmatic on Lunara. And for anyone that doesn't know, it's enigmatic on Lunara. That's all I'm going to say about it, because that's all I have to say about it. This is a very auto-attack focused heavy composition, though. Sonya auto, Lunara auto, Hanzo auto, Diablo auto. Stukov hits with a bus. It's still an auto-attack, and Cassia could mitigate some of that. I'm a little worried that it is very auto-forward. Any thoughts on that, Khroen?
Yeah, Cassia is going to be pretty good into that style of play. I'm slapping at the Stukov. It's a bust, but it's an auto. Very much. I mean, Stukov, he slaps. There's like no other way to say it. Like, Stukov autos are insane. I think overall, taking a final look at the draft here, I like the draft from the red team. It has a lot of things going for it. Looking at the potential of Mosh Pit, you have the Stukov cancel, you have Sonya Spirit cancel, Hanzo Arrow cancel, even Diablo APOC cancel. Mopsio, a very, very proficient support player. Tank player, excuse me. He's going to recognize where the enemy is and when he can get those value Mosh Pits off. It's kind of going to be do or die based off of him.
Well, let's go ahead and read off our names for our final game of the exhibition series and maps. We have Stukov being played by Dark Chimera, Direk on the Diablo, Enigmatic on that Lunara, Unaverted on the Hanzo, and Grommen on the Sonya.
Once again, over on the red side, we have Rutsuo on the Cassia, Ridzuza on the Diva, Mind Hawk on the Sylvanas, LCS player, aka Mopsio on the ETC, and Hennig on the Malfurion.
We didn't talk about this in the draft whatsoever. I talked about the blinds from the Cassia, but we didn't talk about Block Party from ETC, which anytime you're using an ability, you're getting yourself armor, and then you're going to give people around you armor as well, and that's a big win into this auto-attack heavy-based composition. We do have Hanzo going into the simple geometry at level 1 for more bounces on that scatter arrow. I'm expecting it to be explosive arrow at level 4, really, though, because they do need the wave clear, they do need the shrine clear. But I wonder, do you go into the serrated arrows? I think at level 7, I think is the name, where you basically get the increased damage to minions, mercenaries, and monsters. Oh wait, no, it's cooldown reduction at 7. Sorry, I always flip the 4 and the 7 on those two, but it's the never outmatched. But do you still go for that cooldown reduction, because it gets you autos get you cooldown on Stormbow and Scatter, if I'm not mistaken?
I believe it is just the scatter that you get cooldown reduction from. And I believe if you're going the level 1 talent W, you're especially going to go W at 7 as well. And as you were talking about, alluding to, you're definitely going to get the Stormbow, the Q damage, or the explosion rather, at level 4, because you're going to need a bit more of that shrine control there. Sonya spins on the skeletal defenders, gets them low, but then a Hanzo Q there to secure them is going to be what allows them to get a lead there. Siege camps coming out from both teams here, but then red team is ahead in terms of the bottom camp siege, so they'll be able to get that.
So just camp pressure around the map. Diva still pushing out top lane. First Punisher will be announced in 30 seconds and upload available for contest in 1 minute, and it will be a Mortar Punisher in that bottom lane. It seems like it's just a lot of standard rotations right now. No one playing mega aggressive. Like, Mopsio's not trying to find these super aggressive power slides, and maybe they've adjusted the way that they're going to play these games as they're just kind of pressing into the enemy team, but not utilizing abilities, if that makes sense. The other little thing I wanted to note here when it comes to some of these talent pickups is the level 1 for Enigmatic, that Sentinel Wisp on the Lunara. And we can't really showcase it here, but the amount of vision you actually can supply the friendly team is insane. So long as you have that Sentinel Wisp in a bush, it increases the vision to like 200, which if we're looking around a shrine, for example, it gives you the shrine and then some around. So having information like that's massive on a map like this, where you have, for example, our bottom lane shrine, where you have multiple ways to enter into this. Having that vision to know where the enemy teams might be kind of floating around is always good for your friendly members. And right now, we're kind of holding as our first objectives up and available with D-Rec and friends on point already.
Top lane is going to be a bit of a 1v1 there, clearing those bruiser camps, but a 4v4 on the bot side here. Enigmatic is pushing the wave and is now going to rotate in here. I think the blue team is going to be a bit more initially aggressive there as Dark Chimera does throw out a good combo into Rutsuo. There isn't the follow-up available right now, so Lurking Arm will be on cooldown. D-Rec posturing, Mopsio slides forward.
Power sliding in, trying to get onto the backline. D-Rec finds the Shadow Charge into Mopsio. They're going to force them back. Rutsu's taking too much damage. Enigmatic, oh my god, unaverted. You're going for it right now as they leap over the wall with the agility, going to get the auto attack from Enigmatic and find that kill. But Enigmatic wants blood as they stepped further forward into the Cassia, but it wasn't enough, and they realized, you know what, they probably have avoidance active. I don't think I can chase this, but they step forward into the lane. Henning is trying to heal them up, but D-Rex Shadow charges in and finds the kill. Mopsio trying to power slide and control this Diablo, and Sonya is on the shrine doing Sonya things, clearing this out. They're trying to CC the mech until they get the pilot form out. Unfortunately, they still get the explosion, and they're not able to stall out the recast of that, but Mortar Punisher is going to our blue team, and they're pushing in through bottom lane with it.
It feels like blue team is just styling on all the red team members here. Dark Chimera, beautiful follow-up from that Mortar Punisher jump, silencing Sylvanas. You're not able to Wraith form out. Mopsio actually sliding in there, trying to find something, but you cannot slide into 4 members and a Punisher, my friend. You are taken out immediately there. This might be even a fort to go down with this first Punisher phase.
Between the siege of Enigmatic and Unaverted, I would expect that to be the case. Enigmatic wants it here, and they're gonna, okay, I was about to say, oh my god, do we have a literal 1 HP for it, but the damage over time will solidify that. Now, you were not incorrect whatsoever with your calls on this Hanzo. At level 1, we do have the simple geometry, which is finished out. They have all those stacks done. Level 4 is the explosive arrow, and level 7 is the never out match. For anyone wondering on the Diablo souls, those are finished out as well, so they have that up and available. And to note, for the Sylvanas at level 4 went into possession, looking to steal away some of those enemy minions, but it's 4-0 in kills, a solid level lead for our blue team as they're trying to make a dive onto D-Rec happen, but they managed to turn this around and maybe finding a kill into Sylvanas Minehawk with the short distance haunting wave.
This is a 3v5 right now on the bottom side, but blue team still almost getting a kill there. D-Rec had a great re-engage with a Dark Chimera follow-up. Dark Chimera Stukov is impressing right now for sure. Mopsio sliding away now. The arrow from Unaverted does miss, but there is still the kill onto at least 1, looking like 2 here. Ritsuza, you are not where you want to be, my friend. Diva falls as well. Blue team is running over this game right now. They are over a level and a half up in only 6 minutes into the game.
And they continue to push in through this mid lane. Next Punisher will be in top, and it will be Arcane. And I believe there's like a 3-minute cooldown from when the Punisher goes down to when it's up and available again. I didn't look at when it went down, but I think we're somewhere in the 8-minute mark, if I'm not mistaken on that one, as they open up mid lane, and I think that's as much as they do. I thought I saw Hanzo's rotating into top lane. I think they want to try and soft push the top lane, and if they get that Punisher, then they're able to threaten the fort again rather than just the fort front gate.
Definitely. Okay, now level 10s are achieved for the red team. If there's going to be any time to make something happen, it is now. But the vision from the blue team, Enigmatic has the Wisp. It is always in bushes. It is always giving vision those rotations. So Mopsio, a player that likes to sit in aggressive bushes, sit where you might not expect, you can't do that versus Enigmatic. And Enigmatic, such a good Lunara player, and one of the signature heroes there. You know how to move that wisp around to find players like Mopsio and what they want to do there.
I'm looking at the stats because I hit Control 2 for a hot second. This is neck and neck between Hanzo and Lunara. It's roughly like 500 hero difference between the two, and they're competing for top stat in this. But it's roughly 15,000 for both of them. On the opposing side, the highest is Cassia with 7,000 heroic damage. So I want to paint you all that small picture when it actually comes to the output from these teams. We have 13 talents here approaching here. Do we want to try and jump into comms, or do you feel like this is just going to be given over by the red team?
It's honestly probably going to be given over, but we might see some red team desperation nonetheless. I'm curious top into blue comms though to see how they pilot this.
I'm heading straight onto the shrine.
I'm looking for I have a clench. I'm looking. I'm
ignoring them all and heading straight to shrine.
Here I come.
Yeah.
APOC. Cassia. Oh.
Sylph, that's Sylvie.
Watch ETC.
Yeah, he's
holding it. Looking help Ramen out.
Yeah, I'm on back on.
I'm on Mindhawk right now.
No.
Yeah.
I'm back up. I have souls.
Mindhawk can die.
Mindhawk, nice.
Turn around. ETC here.
ETC.
Just get out of the box.
Nice. Let's go.
I'm on shrine.
I'm on my way. We need.
Just keep clearing wave. Get the wave priority. Yep. I got wave. You can go.
I'm here.
I'm just stepping up. I'm gonna start hitting wall. Mouth.
Absolute insanity, but like, I actually kind of knew what was happening. Maybe we've been jumping enough comms and I'm starting to kind of figure it out, but like, D-Rec was just like, I'm wrapping around Apocalypse, like, it was just like that call for the initiation. Everybody went in and it was really, really good from D-Rec. What were your thoughts on the comms we just heard, Khroen?
They're so excited, actually. There was like 3 people, it seemed like, talking at the same time when we first jumped into comms from the blue team. But D-Rec actually, so in this scenario, I don't think it's optimal to have so many people talking at the same time, but D-Rec has a voice to be able to like power through all of that and say, I'm engaging right now, APOC, that's good. You need that if you're a tank player, and D-Rec does have that. The engage initially didn't quite work out, but actually now Mindhawk being leapt on 2 times by Enigmatic and secures that kill onto Sylvanas. Ooh, the good jump away from Hanzo there, but D-Rec might be in trouble here. Dark Chimera not able to provide enough healing. However, Henning has been found by Gronman.
They spin to win. There's a mosh pit. Is there a chain? Is there an ancient spear? That's a fend into the Hanzo, who's going to be taking a bit of a dance break. That's a... Lunara's going to go down mid-leap. Sorry, the bunny hop from the Diva caught me so off guard. Sonya going to try and turn this around, but this is a Cassia. Come on now. They made their best play. They get the fort in top lane, and they will lose 4 overall. That is a bit of a jump, though, when it comes to experience for our red team. That is, that's what they need. Those couple kills are big for them.
It is.
Wait, Mopsio, hello? Sorry, bottom lane?
Mopsio's, he's looking for something. He's alone right now, but he's still like, nah, I want to make things happen. I want to be the DPS and the tank here. Like, oh man, so aggressive there. But no, those kills are necessary. If you are the red team, it gives you back so much XP, especially when you're down levels there. Mopsio's moshes have been really, really good. The past 2 have been instrumental when it comes to having a chance in this game. It was looking kind of doomed, honestly. He was starting from like 6 minutes in the game, but they are coming back slowly. Only half a level behind right now. The thing is that with how well Blue has been playing these team fights and the communication that they do have, while it is chaotic, they have a clear goal in mind. And it seems like they're always playing towards that goal together and able to usually be 1 step ahead there.
16 talent here will be coming through in just a moment for our red team. Our next Punisher phase will be in the bottom lane. It is going to be a frozen Punisher. I'm watching to see this. I think they just play this safe on the red team, look for 16s, and then wait for the objective. But Diablo's going to shadow charge in. Mindhawk's the target, and they shut that entire idea down. Khroen, so well played from the blue team right there.
Very well played there from the blue team. The thing is that Sylvanas did have Gladiator's Medallion available, but did not respect the Diablo CC there. Unaverted though. Ooh, okay, good leap away there. Getting out of danger. And a re-engage arrow actually here onto Mopsio.
They're going to try and make something happen, but it's not going to work out for them. They end up going down. Bunny Hop coming out from the D.Va. Grumman trying to spin to win through a lot of that D-Rec, looking for some other engage as the D.Va mech boosts away. They're still looking to push in through this mid lane. Their siege, as we noted beforehand, is really strong for this blue team. Autos from the Sonya, same from the Hanzo and the Lunara, will shred through this fort through mid lane. As we noted beforehand, the next Punisher will be frozen and in bottom lane. Once again, I didn't look at the death timer of the Punisher, but it's probably somewhere in the 13 to 14 minute mark, if I'm not mistaken. D-Rec will get scouted out by the tower right there, as they're maybe looking for a Shadow Charge overpower, but no play to happen while Sylvanas manages bottom lane.
I would love to like go back and look at this game in terms of how much priority the blue team has had in number of minutes over the course of the map. I say that because we had Sylvanas getting picked off there, and then we saw blue team, push forward. They tried to make something happen, and they got another kill, actually, chain killing on Mopsio there. There's just not a lot of time where red team even has windows to make a play happen because of things like this. So while their windows are limited, they need to find one, though. Blue team just isn't giving the opportunities right now. They're respecting, they're backing off, they're rotating together, they're taking Bruiser Camp. D-Rec scouting out all the places that Mopsio would like to be, although there is going to be red team getting control over this shrine initially. Let's see how blue team decides to take this.
Do you want to actually jump into red comms really quick? I know everything's happening. Yeah, let's move that.
It's giving them low.
It's
good, it's good. Diablo now. Sludge.
Yeah.
Nothing
Nice.
happening.
Stick up.
Finish it, please. I give him low. Just reset for objective, reset to objective.
Yeah, go back to objective. Ooh, I don't have plans. We need help, Brutso here. Carry, walk out. I have Q for you.
Give him
Diablo is up there.
Did you use Hero?
They didn't, I think. I have cleanse again in 10. He's here now. D for you. Cleansing.
No. I'm pressing medallion, but it doesn't work because of thing. Like, I wanted to bait him, but it's like, whatever.
Go out.
I have to go top.
Momentum initially was for the red team right there. They had the position, had the priority. They had a kill on Diablo, resetting the souls, but Khroen, where did it go south?
They need to be more careful. I think they were chasing a little bit too far there. They needed to recognize Diablo is coming back. They need to do that shrine a little bit faster. Respect the re-engage there. Heard Mopsio saying that wanted to press medallion to bait, but he couldn't. A little bit of ping there. Unfortunate. You gotta take that into account though. Blue team, they might even look to end the game here with this push. They have level 20s. This is a game-threatening end push.
They want to go to core. Medallion was used onto Diablo, who was looking for Redzo, who just walked a little further away. D.Va with the bunny hop. It has a stun on every third bunny hop on the same target. Lunara and Grumman on the far side of this core, trying to end game. Hanzo rips an arrow into one, but this is looking like the leaping strikes come through. Hanzo with the damage, and that'll be game number 3 over to the side of our blue team. They take the last 3-game series in a 3-0 fashion. Khroen, what are your thoughts on this last game?
Going into this series, just in general, I would have not expected this to be a 3-0. Blue team, all of the members here showing up and playing dominantly. The Hanzo damage was great there. I think had some pretty good dragon arrows there. I wanted to highlight earlier on, but didn't get a chance to, like some of the initial pre-level 10 plays, chasing those kills in that bottom shrine there. That just goes to show an experienced Hanzo player there did his role. Enigmatic there. It's a treat to see Enigmatic Lunara. I'm glad we got a chance to cast that. It did so well. Red team, they had some moments of greatness, but they were too few and far between, unfortunately. Blue team, especially, another player I want to highlight is Dark Chimera. That Stukov play, I think, was his best that we've seen out of all 3 games, repeatedly making things happen with that slow and that lurking arm. And we're actually going to be getting an interview with Dark Chimera in just a moment. Dark Chimera, welcome. Congratulations on your 3-0. How are you feeling after all those games?
Feeling really good and really impressed with how my team played.
Yeah, definitely. Did you expect these games to be a 3-0 going into today, or do you expect it to be a little bit closer, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little pessimistic. I was expecting a 3-0, maybe in the opposite direction, but I was, hot take. But I was so impressed with how my team communicated and worked together. Usually that's hard for teams of like weeks and months, but we played one ARAM together and the synergy was there.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, pass it to Baha. Do you have any questions for Dark?
I want to talk about, because I think you said it right there. Like you've only played an ARAM together. We jumped in your comms here and there. Were your comms always as chaotic as we kind of heard them? Like a good example is the engagement you guys took, I think, in top lane on this last map, where it was just constant chaos. Everyone was yelling, and then D-Rec was like, "Apocalypse Shadow Charge!" Like, was literally that the comms constantly, or was it a lot more like we have a game plan and we're all just kind of yelling up until that game plan happens?
When we weren't in team fights, it was just a few people talking, calling out macro plays. But in the team fights, it was basically whoever yelled the loudest is who we went with.
Well, I'm gonna throw it back to Khroen if you have any questions for Dark Chimera here.
Yeah, when we jumped into the comms there at that top fight, it was kind of the loudest. Like, it was D-Rec, his voice. As a tank player, you need your voice to be able to be heard, and it was there. And so, you talked about coming into this being pessimistic, but you're very impressed by your team. Looking at your play though individually, I think we saw, in my opinion, the best performance out of you in that Stukov pick. Do you have any supports that you generally lean towards wanting to play? Like, I think you played 3 different sports through 3 different games. Like, what is your preference there, and how did you play in conjunction with the rest of your team? Like, was there anything that you had to change up because you're new teammates or anything, or were you just kind of playing your own game there?
I was more focused on playing whatever the team needed and winning the game than just like playing my best heroes and just trying to show myself. Like, if I'd had Deckard, those games would have been over so much faster.
Wow. All right. The Dark Chimera Deckard Cade call. Watch out for that in the future, perhaps. But still, a lot of impressive plays on other heroes here. Congrats again on the 3-0 Dark Chimera. Do you have any final shout outs, any parting words here?
Just shout out my team. Everyone was so vocal and working together. I've never been so impressed at a throw together team than how we played just now.
Beautiful. Baha, take it away.
Well, thank you for joining us, Dark Chimera. You have a wonderful night, and thank you for the 3-game series that we got to cast and watch you play in. But that that actually wraps things up for us. I was actually about to be like, we have more games. Unfortunately, we don't have more games. I wish we had more games. I would have loved to be like, we can throw it to a 10-minute break. Let's get more Heroes of the Storm action. But no, that is not going to be the case. That is going to be the end of our exhibition matches. Really quickly, before I, let you tell everyone where to find you, I want to really quickly plug the live draft that is going to be happening next Saturday. So October 17th, 1 o'clock PDT, 4 o'clock EDT, 10 p.m. CEST will be the start time for that live draft. You can find it here, Twitch, and YouTube, where it's multi-streamed. Khroen, where can people find you for more Khroen content?
You can find me. It's very simple. Twitch and Twitter at Khroen, just Khroen. I love seeing a lot of familiar faces in the community, in the chat. This has been a blast to cast with you here, Baha. Thank you to you and to Heroes Hearth, for putting on the CCL. I'm very excited to watch the live draft in a week. This is like unprecedented, having something like this happen, and it's just going to be so interesting to watch how it all unfolds. It's beautiful being a part of the Heroes of the Storm community once again in this capacity. Hopefully be able to find some more casting opportunities in the future, perhaps. And with you, Baha, it's a pleasure once again casting with you. That's all I have. Just, thank you very much. And thanks for having me.
No, thank you for joining me. You can find me everywhere, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at Bahamut Gaming. But as I said, this does wrap things up for HeroesCCL exhibition matches presented by Roll20. We'll see you next weekend for the live draft. Until then, we'll see you in the Nexus. Stay safe and have fun.